The following program is precisely the type of content that our big tech overlords do not want you to see. People who have conservative leanings, are genuinely happy, are capable of both thought and expression, and promote judging people based on what they say and do rather than who they are. Oh, the horror! YouTube, frequently referred to as Susan, does all she can to rig algorithms to ensure you never see that kind of thing, especially if they're having fun. So buckle up and punch that like button to tell Susan, you're not the boss of me. We are just moments away from starting the following program. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the final program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. If you are in YouTube, you may have noticed that right before I started the show, I put up a poll there. Because in addition to what it is that I got going on here, I always have some like little side things besides my main stories. Usually. It's very rare that I don't. But it probably wouldn't be a side story if I were to cover the topic that I threw out in the poll there, which I had thought about covering earlier today. Totally forgot about it. Haven't looked at it. Kind of curious to look at it. And that is that Don Lemon, worst journalist of the year, 7-time winner, worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk for terminating his contract. So I sort of really was thinking about looking at that. I'm going to glance over you folks in the Rumble Ghetto because I put a poll up in YouTube. Can't really do that over here. If you want me to cover and go through the complaint, it's a 25-page complaint. I'd probably skim through it with you. If you want me to do that, throw a 1 in the chat. If you don't want me to go through it, put a 2. You don't really care about hearing me go dissect that complaint, and put a 2 up there. So that's for you. 1 is for me to go through it. 2 is for you to skip it if you're in Rumble. If you're in YouTube, you can just click a button. And yeah, it's much easier for you. Much easier. Life is much easier for you. That's one of the ways that YouTube makes it easier for you. I don't make the rules here. I'm just going with what we got. You can tell me also if you're in locals over there, because I've got my little diggers hanging out in locals. Like Trigger of Oz, thank you so much for the $5 tip. But that's not really a vote. That's not a vote. That's actually, I should have people vote with money. I should vote with money. I'll give you, I'll count your vote like 20 votes. Like a nickel per vote. That'd be great. Why did I never think of this before? This genius. Every nickel you look at it, 10 cents a vote. Every 10 cents you spend on a super chat or Rumble Rant or whatever towards a vote of like cover it or don't cover it. That's genius. Wow. I can't believe I never thought that before. All right. I digress. I digress. I do have, let me check out. Let me see. Most people in Rumble are saying no. Oh, hell no. That's not part of the agenda. You can't make us sit through that. That wasn't listed as being part of tonight's class. That's pretty much what that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying over there. All right. Here we go. I'm just going to start with this. A while ago, I covered with you how shortly after the assassination attempt, that Tenacious D was basically joining the contingency of really tasteless jackasses. And they had put out this stuff that I was like, Jack Black, my God. Anyway, I never followed up on that. I only learned about this just an update as to like what happened to Tenacious D. I only learned about this now. Some of you probably heard, but not all of you, because I know I missed it. So those of you who are wondering, any ramifications for Tenacious D? Any ramifications for like them basically saying, hey, next time don't miss Trump, which is gross and disgusting? Well, anyway, I just learned tonight about this. I'm going to give my kudos to a channel called Decoy Voice. Never heard of this guy. He's got 604,000 followers. He seems to be pretty based. But his name is Decoy Voice, and this is what he shared, and I'll share with you just as we wait for people to start filing on in here.
Jack Black was recently seen at President Joe Biden's fundraiser.
Mr. President, you're welcome.
And after President Donald Trump narrowly escaped with his life, as seen here in this YouTube-safe Japanese anime, back in Australia, Black and his band Tenacious D showed their true colors on stage.
Make a wish, and don't miss Trump next time.
So that we'd all seen. We'd all seen that. We'd all seen that. It was just like, you guys are sick. There's something really freaking wrong with you. You're really, really disturbed. I was like, there's something really wrong with these people. Well, all right. This is what we got.
So immediately after, an Australian senator moved to deport the group, calling them disgusting, filthy, and evil. Also asking that their visas be revoked as well. So Black took to Instagram to state that he would never condone or encourage political violence in any form, but will not only cancel the rest of their tour, but are also pausing the band entirely.
They are never performing again. That is my prediction. They will never, ever perform again. Okay, that's too far. No, they might. They will never sell out a performance again. I don't think they're going to perform ever again. I think they're done. Frankly, I thought they were, to be fair with you, I thought they were done like 15, 20 years ago. But when Jack Black, became like a big movie star, I figured they were done, but I don't think they're ever going to perform again.
Which is odd, because this doesn't quite look like not condoning or encouraging.
Don't miss Trump next time.
Then Kyle Gass also apologized, stating,
So I didn't even know his name was Kyle Gass. That's how little I knew.
Then Kyle Gass also apologized.
The line I improvised on stage Sunday night in Sydney was highly inappropriate, dangerous, and a terrible mistake. I don't condone. We know how Australia handles people they don't like. We saw that video of Depp and Amber Heard. I don't condone violence of any kind in any form against anyone. What happened was a tragedy, and I'm incredibly sorry for my severe lack of judgment. I profoundly apologize to those I've let down and truly regret any pain I've caused.
Stating that it was a terrible mistake in repeating the "I don't condone violence" line. But it didn't matter, as Gass was dropped by his talent agency shortly after anyways. I think that these are just signs that the culture is finally starting to shift, as I'm absolutely certain 4 years, 1 year, or even 1 month ago, they probably could have said the same exact thing and their circles probably would have praised them. But after
I don't know about the culture shifting. Well, let's see.
Trump's mugshot, the debates, the 37 felonies, and now the greatest campaign image of all time, it's no longer cool to wish harm on the guy that most Americans actually want as their president now. And those that still do are starting to sound like the real dangers to democracy.
I would agree that this was a financial decision when it's like, I can't be with this guy now. It's like, you can't.
Libs of TikTok shows us Tenacious D weren't the only ones, as councilwomen, firefighters, nurses, and many others are also starting to lose their jobs over saying similar stupidity. So what exactly made these people so comfortable in publicly cheering on the death of a politician, as if somehow that was the righteous thing? Possibly because the media constantly portrayed Trump as this historically evil figure.
Yep, they did. All right, and I don't want to get into all that. He goes into Joe Scarborough. I'll skip to the Joe Scarborough part. Well, actually,
repeatedly encouraging their readers to see him this way, and even international publications parroting the same talking points. But now that someone acted on that very message they were putting out, somehow the media sees themselves as the true victims.
You are feeding into the danger. You are making it more likely there's retaliation. I'm incredibly scared. I'm scared for journalists.
yeah, yes, yeah. That's what she's scared about. Not scared about Trump. I'm scared for myself.
Scared for people who have public platforms of all parties, and that's how people should feel.
I don't think she cares about anyone on the opposite platform. I really don't. I think she's cold as ice. I really do.
Despite the fact that they can't help but continue doubling down on that rhetoric.
At some point, Democrats have to decide that they want to try to win this election and turn their fire on Donald Trump. I think there is, I shouldn't have said turn their fire.
You think? But that's how you're used to speaking. You're all used to speaking that way.
Apologize. That was not the phrase that I meant.
So when a has-been TV host has a history of saying this.
If they vote for Donald Trump in 2024, they're knowingly voting for a fascist. They're voting for a racist.
There is no excuse. He is a racist. He is blatant about his racism. That he is
You're a racist. You're a racist. You're blatant about your racism. It's gross. You're a racist. You're a terrible racist. All the time. I see Scarborough say the most racist things all the time. He's a terrible racist. He is terrible racist. Anyway, they are so stupid. I do need to pause for a moment because I want to just acknowledge here. I want to acknowledge Mary Coppola bringing in 5 new members.
People
to the
who have
following.
conservative
Oh my
leanings.
gosh, that's loud. 5 new members to the following, including Sherlyn Tate, Lisa Walters, On the Present Waves, Dog Backwards, and X Scarlet. Welcome to the following. Welcome to the following. I assume is this 5. I think I think she brought in 5 new women. I'm not sure about Dog Backwards. Dog Backwards could be it. It could be. On the Present Waves. All right. Well, at least I'm counting at least 3. At least 3. Welcome to the following. It's good because I feel like we need diversity and equity and inclusion here. Everyone says I don't have nearly enough diversity and equity and inclusion in the following. And I say first and foremost, I am not the leader of the following. Why are you saying this to me? I am not the leader of the following. I don't know why I need to hear complaints that there's not enough equity here. Look, I don't think we need any more equity. I want to be clear about that. But people come like they're just like sending me emails. Joe, where's the inclusion? I don't see the inclusion. I don't see the diversity. Every time I see the same old white guy yelling into his camera the whole time. And it's like, what are you talking to me? I'm not the leader of the following. Following is just about personal growth. It's just a place for people to come together for personal growth. Welcome to the following, and please express your gratitude to Mary because she is awesome. Really appreciate her bringing you in here. I hope you did express your gratitude to her for that noble act on her part. Which just says you must be black based on your punctuality. Don't give in to the what? That sounds kind of racist. There's such a thing called Jewish time, also. There's such a thing called Jewish time. Oh, Susie too. I think that's for my opening tonight. From one Joe to another, I don't know. Where would you even come up with this? It's crazy. Joe, off topic. You doing fantasy football again? Let's get it going. Okay. You asked me about it. I've been thinking about it the last couple of days. Let me see where my poll is at. Because I'm going to put up a new poll. So 62% of you saying yes. This is the difference between Rumble and YouTube. Rumble was like, oh hell no. And YouTube is like, no, I want my freaking Don Lemon report. I want to see Don Lemon's stupid complaints. I kind of do want to see his stupid complaint. Not going to kid you. Anyway, fantasy football. Those of you who are unaware, last year, I had a Good Lawgic fantasy football league and we had it was a small league last year, from what I recall. It was smaller than what I wanted. I'll tell you right now. So you asked me if I'll do a fantasy football again. Yes, but I need a minimum of 10 people, and I can't do it for $50. It's got to be $100. It's gonna be $100 entry. I will do it again if I get 10 people who are willing to commit. I'm going to pay $100 and join the league. Then then I'm going to do it again. I mean, last year was too easy. I just dominated. I was just dominant from like game one. It was kind of stupid. It was kind of, no offense. I know everyone's trying their best. I happen to be really, really like ridiculously good at fantasy football. So like, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. But yeah, I was pretty dominant. Pretty dominant. So I'd like to do it again, but I really want more people. I want it more. And it has to be $100. I can't do the $50 thing. I can't. No, it's $100. If I get 10 people willing to commit to pay $100, well, it'll really be 9. And I would go up to 12. Like I'm not having a league with 15 people. I'd go up to 12. So if you're interested in it, if you're interested in joining the fantasy football league and you're willing to commit that you're going to pay $100, and I end up holding the money. I don't like holding the money. I really don't like holding the money. One of the reasons I don't like holding the money is because then when you win, you don't really feel anything. Like you don't get that nice little cash infusion. You're just like, oh, I won, and now I have to pay second place. So it's like I'm paying out less. And I know I'm collecting the money in the outset. I get all that, but it's like it sort of takes away some of the. But there's no other way I'm going to do it because I'm certainly going to be the one holding the money. Otherwise, because I otherwise feel responsible for the money. So yes, I will do it. If you're interested in joining, hit me up on X or goodlogic@gmail.com, which I check like once again. So, and those of you who hit me up after yesterday's stream asking me for codes, I saw that I got some notifications about that. I'll take care of that probably after the show. It's going to probably take care of that. So if you're interested in joining, hit me up and we'll see if we put together a league. It's going to be $100 entry fee, and it's going to be a minimum of 10 people, including me. So, Cleveland Guardians are the what? That's not true. I love our cult. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I don't know who the leader is. The leader's not me, but I appreciate that you love the cult. New member, Frankie Boo. Welcome, Frankie. Welcome to the following. Yeah, cookies. I'm in. I'm going to do better this year. I understand how it works better now. Adrian was a member in it last year. Her team, I think she ended up beating me like in the second to last week of the season. Like the whole season, her team was dog meat. She got strong down the finish. What I would tell you is this. In a 10-person league, the way I would do it is I would say there's 6 playoff spots, and I would have first 5 based on record in order of finish. And the 6th one, I would have whoever scored the most points. I think that's a better way to do it. Instead of someone finished like one game ahead, I would say whoever finished with the most points. This way, if you have a couple of tough losses early in the season, like you put up a lot of points and you happen to be facing each week the person who put up the most points. So even though you have like you still have a chance to get into the playoffs. And I think that probably is the better way to gain admission. So you have to put primacy on record, but I will put that on. I'll have points be for someone to backdoor in. In other words, whoever did not make the playoffs and has the most points, that's going to be the 6th seed. So, yeah. The following is a cult, and the streamer is our dude. Let me see. These are just lies. Total lies. All right. Let's get into some of our stories here. I'm very torn about whether or not to do this. Very torn about whether or not to cover Don Lemon. Most people are saying it's really like a 3-1. All right, let's get into Vadim and into this whole topic. Start with that. I want to start with the BOXER. BOXER. I got this up. Let's talk about this. We're also going to talk a little bit about the plea deal for the 9/11 guys got. In fact, I'm going to start this topic off because this is related, sort of. It's like international justice, sort of related. I know a lot of people are very upset about a plea deal that the U.S. struck today. And I'm going to be completely frank with you in case you're unaware of this plea deal. It's very easy to hate on this deal. U.S. reaches plea deal with alleged 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. U.S. has reached a plea deal with alleged 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and two other defendants accused of plotting the 2001 terror attacks, according to the Defense Department. The pretrial agreement, reached after 27 months of negotiations, takes the death penalty off the table for the Mohammed Walid bin Attash and Mustafa al-Hawasawi, prosecutors said in a letter obtained by CNN sent to the families of 9/11 victims and survivors shortly before the DOD announced the news of the press release Wednesday evening. After beginning negotiations in March 2022, three men agreed to plea deal to all charges, including the murder of the 2,976 people listed in the charging sheet, the families were told. Mohammed and his co-defendants will enter guilty pleas at the plea hearing that could come as early as next week, according to the letter. So a lot of people are very bothered by this. We recognize that the status of this case in general, the news in particular, will understandably and appropriately elicit intense emotion. And we also realize the decision to enter into a pretrial agreement will be met with mixed reactions among the thousands of family members who lost loved ones. First thing you would say is, why the hell are you taking the death penalty off the table for these guys? The decision to enter a pretrial agreement after 12 years of pretrial litigation was not reached lightly. However, it is our collective reason and good faith judgment that this resolution is the best path to finality and justice in this case. The plea agreement avoids what would have been a long, complicated death penalty trial against Mohammed. This is the least bad deal in the real world that would ever happen. Government faced the difficult challenge of advancing a case that had stalled over the course of 2 decades since Mohammed's capture in Pakistan in 2003 for his alleged involvement in the terror attacks. They were still in pretrial hearings, Bergen told CNN, getting some kind of deal is better. In 2008, Mohammed was charged with a list of crimes, including conspiracy, murder, in violation of the law of war, attacking civilians, attacking civilian objects, intentionally causing serious bodily injury, etc. U.S. said it would seek the death penalty for Mohammed, and yet again broke its promise to its own people. But the military trial against Mohammed and his alleged co-conspirators was delayed for years as the U.S. tried to determine how to handle the issue of torture used against Mohammed and others at secret CIA prisons in the 2000s. The issue posed a legal problem for prosecutors about whether evidence obtained through torture was admissible in court. Okay, so they without that evidence, are they not going to get a conviction? That's the question. That's the real question that I have. Let's say you would take out every piece of evidence that they got through torture. So you're not going to get a conviction? How did they end up in your prison in the first place? What evidence did you have for that? The trial was set to begin on January 11, 2021, but delays brought about by the resignation of 2 judges in the coronavirus pandemic pushed the date back again. The 3 alleged conspirators will still face a sentencing hearing where the parties will present evidence to argue for an appropriate sentence short of the death penalty. That sentencing hearing will not occur before next summer. What? During the sentencing hearings in this case, may be an opportunity for a member of your family to testify about the impact of the 9/11 attacks have had on you and your loved ones, to provide a victim impact statement that will be considered by the military jury in determining a sentence. The letter notes that prosecutors met with families for feedback about possible plea agreements as required by law. As part of the agreement, defendants agreed to answer written questions from the surviving victims and victims' families about their roles and reasons for conducting the attacks. The families now have 45 days to submit questions to be answered by the alleged co-conspirators by the end of the year. According to the letter, the prosecutors plan to travel to meet with the families in person this fall to discuss the plea agreements. Some families have been pushing back, though. Brett Eagleson, the president of 9/11 Justice, said in a statement that the families are deeply troubled by these plea deals and push for more information about Saudi Arabia's involvement in the attacks. While we acknowledge these decisions to avoid death penalty, our primary concern remains access to these individuals for information. These plea deals should not perpetuate a system of closed-door agreements where crucial information is hidden without giving the families of the victims the chance to learn the full truth. We urge administration to ensure these deals do not close the door on obtaining critical information that can shed light on Saudi Arabia's role. See, now I know it's like I'm gonna be real with you. The easiest position in the world for me to take, simplest, like so easy position for me to take, is for me to start ranting and railing, saying, "What the hell is going on here? How dare you let the perpetrators of the worst attack on U.S. soil in arguably American history, certainly with respect, foreign attack on U.S. soil. How do you let them walk without, and take death penalty off the table?" And I can do the whole rant thing. I'm not feeling it. And the reason I'm not feeling it is because I sort of feel as if I don't have enough information. Like, I don't know enough about the specific roles. I mean, they say that one of them is the mastermind behind it. I don't have enough information about what admissible evidence they have in their possession. And I think that a lot of people who might be screaming, might be coming from a place of emotion, as opposed to logic. And that's not to say that there's not corruption here. Meaning, it could be that the government is just interested in putting this to bed. It's not like 9/11 is a topic that people are talking about on a daily basis. I mean, we're coming up on a 23rd anniversary. It's a long time. There are a lot of grown adults today who were born after 9/11. It's a really friggin' long time. So yeah, it's very easy for me to sit here and tell you how unjust this is. The pragmatic, then I have different conflicting sides on it. Because, I have been affected by my conversations with Steve Gosney, where he's made some powerful arguments against the death penalty, many of which I found to be fairly persuasive. I don't know if all of them would relate necessarily to a foreign actor as to an American citizen. There's a large part of the compelling arguments he makes are rooted in constitutional values. Some of the most compelling arguments he makes is the percentage of time that they learn later on dispositively that they got the wrong guy. That's kind of a horrifying thing. Look, so that's why I'm not as gung-ho on capital punishment as I was back in 9/11. I've definitely softened on that stance considerably since then. On the other hand, I sort of feel as if this smells like a classic government cop-out, where it's like, we're just tired of dealing with this whole thing and we want to put this thing to bed and call it a win by getting the sentence and just get this whole thing wrapped up. So we can say, hey, we put this guy's away for life. And that's why I feel very conflicted about it. I'm wondering how you guys feel about it, though. Do you think that this whole thing stinks like yesterday's diapers? Some people say this too. I think it probably depends on which prison we're talking about. I want to check the ghetto, because the ghetto is it's a different kind of viewer there. Oh, thank you, Twella Jen. saying I can make a boring topic fun. That's kind of the goal. That is really that is more than kind of goal. That is the goal. Thank you. If I was, no, it's not. I'm a bit alarmed at the polling numbers for Trump. I can't stomach a Kamala. Tammy. Relax. It's a long time away, the election. A long time away. Long time away. It is 12 weeks in the future. If we look at half that time, 6 weeks. 6 weeks ago today. 6 weeks ago today. Kamala was not thinking about running for president this year. Trump was not shot. Biden had not yet fallen on his face in an election, in a debate. So look at how the world has changed dramatically in this election cycle over the last 6 weeks. There's 12 weeks to go, and there's a lot more craziness to happen. A lot more. So don't start losing sleep today. You want to start losing sleep in October, late September? Okay, I understand. Don't start losing sleep today. Long way to go. Thank you, Q. Appreciate that. All right. So, but anyway, my point is, I don't really, just wrapping up this story here with the plea deal, I sort of don't know what to make out of it. I don't know what to make out of it. I mean, I felt personally deeply affected by 9/11. Those of us who were, adults and living in New York at the time, you're going to end up feeling that way. I don't like the idea of giving them any quarter. I have no belief in the concept of there being a Bill of Rights for foreign terrorists. Zero. I think it's intellectually empty. I think it's a baseless position to say that they're entitled to it. And I know I disagree with the Supreme Court. I know the Supreme Court has come up with all sorts of cockamamie reasons that they apply civil rights to people in American custody and all that other stuff. I don't buy it. I personally think that's philosophically empty. So yeah. And part of the reason I think it's philosophically empty is our enemies are not dealing with the Bill of Rights. They're not. And they're not interpreting it as a source of our strength. They look at it as a source of our weakness. And they take advantage of that. They knowingly take advantage of that. This happens all the time. That's part of the argument that Steve Gosney makes. Anyway. But this brings us over to the main topic of tonight. The main topic being Biden calls Russia prisoner swap deal that freed Wall Street Journal's Gerkovich and Paul Whelan, a feat of diplomacy. What? Okay. So he's chalking this up as a massive win. This is how he's chalking it up. He's like, this is a massive win. So Harris says the 4 prisoners will return to their families and declines to answer any questions because why would she have to answer any questions? She said that all 4 of the American prisoners who were released Thursday will be reunited with their loved ones. Yeah. What happened? Fox News is disaster. I'm never coming back here. I'm never coming back here. It's like I just tried making it larger, and the next thing I know, the picture's changing on me. So they're scheduled to, Harris and Biden are scheduled to greet the Americans released by Russia in a prisoner swap on Thursday when they arrive at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland around 11:30 p.m. Paul Whelan, Evan Gershkovich, Alsu Kurmasheva and Vladimir Karamurza were released as part of a prisoner swap with Russia after being unjustly imprisoned. Gershkovich, a 32-year-old reporter for the Wall Street Journal, was arrested on March 29, 2023, while reporting on a trip at the Ural Mountain city of Yekaterinburg, and accused of espionage. Whelan, also hit with espionage-related charges in 2018. In exchange for their release, as well as the release of others, Russia received 8 prisoners in U.S. custody. The released prisoners were Vadim Krasikov from Germany, Artem Viktorovich Doltsev from Slovenia, Anna Valerevna Doltseva from Slovenia, Mikhail Valerievich Mikushin from Norway, Pavel Alexievich Rupca from Poland, Roman Salazar from the U.S., Vladislav Klyushin from the U.S., and Vadim Konoshenak from the U.S. So when they say from the U.S., these are where these individuals are being held. They're all Russian, obviously, but they were basically convicted in these different countries. So is it a feat of diplomacy? You can't deny that it is. I think it's ridiculous trying to, you're gaslighting and say it's not a feat of diplomacy. He had to deal with Poland and Germany in getting them in Slovenia to get these prisoners released. So there's some diplomacy that's going on there. The freed Americans are currently on a plane headed for Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. When they arrive, Biden and Harris are expected to greet them on their tarmac. Oh, yay. Give them their nice little thing. But still in prison, Mark Fogel criticized Biden administration for not getting her son released. Mark Fogel, the mother of Mark Fogel, an American teacher in prison in Russia for the last 3 years, criticized Biden for not trying hard enough to include her son in a prisoner swap with Russia. That resulted in the release of Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and 2 other Americans, according to reports. The New York Post reported that the 95-year-old Malfine Fogel said she was disappointed her 65-year-old son was overlooked again by Biden's team when negotiating a deal to release Americans in prison in Russia. He was sentenced to 14 years in hard labor Russian penal colony after he was arrested for possessing medical marijuana that was prescribed for him for chronic back pain. Yeah, they made sure to get Brittany Griner out. We all remember that. We gotta get out Brittany Griner. She's a lesbian. We gotta get her. She's a WNBA star. Very, very important sport. So her we have to get out. But yeah, Mark Fogel can go rotten in prison. They don't care about that. He's too white, too short, and too straight. So sorry, you're stuck. Fogel remained in prison and continues to be today. His mother spoke to the Post. I heard about it with pain on the news. I don't think the administration is trying hard enough for him. Okay. Let's learn more about these prisoners. This is not what I want. This is not the video I wanted. This is the video I wanted.
Moment
Oh, for crying.
history. It happened earlier today in France, and a major controversy, too, has now erupted out of Paris. An Algerian boxer.
Dang it, not this one. I'm never coming back to this site again. Please, if you ever see me pull up anything from Fox News, I'm going to block it like it's adult content. I can't. They make me crazy. Is it up here? Is this it? I hate them. This wasn't it. There's a 2-minute thing that I wanted to share with you. Now I'm getting this live event. I hate breaking Fox. You're useless. No, to hell with you. I can't. don't know why I keep coming back. I feel like stupid for that I keep coming back here. Stupid. 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 So dumb. Why would I do this to myself? Every time I pull them up, I hate them. I hate them more. I hate them harder, more deeply, more passionately. Ah, God. You're the worst. Is this it? No. All right. Well, that's that. There goes that. There goes that. Here it is. The love of God is so impossible. God, this is what I was looking for the entire time. Okay. I wanted someone to give you context about who this assassin is, and this was the report that I saw that I really wanted to share with you all.
Today's exchange is a feat of diplomacy that could have only been achieved with leaders like President Biden, like Secretary Lincoln, like
Biden did crap. Okay, let's wake up. Seriously. He doesn't know he's talking to Putin or his brother Jim.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan that understand the vital importance of diplomacy.
We are trading people, and it's great to have them home, but giving Putin things that he really, really wants. We are actually encouraging this type of hostage taking.
Both sides of this issue, but getting these folks home is a major success, no matter where you come from. Their families obviously are seeing that as a win, as is America. Wall Street Journal writing it this way.
And this is major success. I mean, what do you consider that? If you're measuring success based on let's look at the positives. Oh my God. You saw how it just jumped. Suck. I can't stand this.
Home is a major success, no matter where you come from. Their families obviously are seeing that as a win, as is America. Wall Street Journal writing it this way: inside the secret negotiations to free Evan Gershkovich, at the center of the struggle were the U.S. and Germany, two allies grappling with the moral and strategic calculus of freeing guilty prisoners to bring their innocent citizens home. If the U.S. once claimed a no concessions policy, that principle has been steadily eroded by one precedent after the next. With that, let's get reaction to all of this from National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby. John, thanks for being with us. Obviously, I heard Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, today celebrating this moment for the country. How do you see it? Tonight they're coming home. They'll land at Andrews, and that'll be a big moment.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be closer to midnight here by the time they get up to
I'm
Andrews
afraid
Air
to
Force
pause
Base
this.
and get reunited with their families. But you imagine they haven't seen him, Mr. Whalen. He's been in prison now for 6 some odd years with no contact with his family. It'll be huge. It'll be a big night, very emotional night, I think, and a very important one, not just for them and their families, but for the United States of America.
We're seeing video of them in Turkey and the tarmac there. The criticism. Here's Newsweek. Prisoner swap marks a success for Putin. Russia's exchange of political prisoners for spies with the West marks the largest swap of its kind since the end of the Cold War, is being hailed as a success for Vladimir Putin. Russia was handed 8 spies and agents, including political assassin Vadim Krasikov, who was convicted in Germany over a 2019 killing in Berlin. Obviously, we're happy that Evan Gershkovich and all of them are home, but what about that criticism directly?
Yeah, look, nobody's delighted or doing backflips over here because Mr. Krasikov is now a free man. That's what negotiations are all about. They require tough decisions, tough calls. The president was willing to make that.
What about not negotiating with they're hostages? I mean, they're called prisoners, but they're basically hostages of the Russian government. What about not
Hyundai Tucson versus Toyota RAV4.
No, the hell with you. I am done with. I'm not pulling. That's it. That's it. I'm done with them. I'm done. Done. It's painful. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, I want you to ponder this for a moment, okay? Just consider this for a moment. Why are there not 5 more Americans who are right now in Russia that are going to be picked up in the next 3 days for some sort of marijuana offense or some other crap that then they can get out tomorrow's assets that they want to get out? This is what really bothers me about this. I certainly feel for anyone who's, wrongfully taken hostage by Russia or any other foreign entity. But this is ultimately the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration, yet again showing weakness on the world stage. That we will bend over, and if you basically harm our civilians, we will bend over and take it up the pooper, especially if we find it to be politically beneficial to we, the people who currently are holding power. And this has a long-term, this is something that cannot be undone. A lot of us think to ourselves, oh, okay, you know what? But then, they'll be voted out of office, assuming that they don't steal an election, that they'll be voted out of office. And then, we'll have the adults will be back in the room dealing with Putin. No, because they'll just figure, hey, we'll take someone today, and eventually Democrats will be back in power, and they'll be bending over and saying, oh, please give us back. And look, I feel terrible for Whelan and Gershkovich and the other prisoners of Russia. I'm certainly not looking for anyone to be wrongfully held. But it's like, you're sending a message. You're sending a message that you can send out your assassins throughout the world, and even we catch them and we convict them, we're not going to engage in a death penalty because we don't do that. And you're going to basically take, what that essentially means is that you're going to end up taking, some Americans going to be taken hostage because of that. And then we'll give them up to you. It's like you're basically sitting there like you're like it's almost like you're putting the makeup on your citizens, and it's like this is the worst cuckoldry in the world. It's such utter cuckoldry. There's no other word for it, because we all know what they're going to do tomorrow. And I don't mean literally tomorrow, but I'm saying we all know what they're going to do. And you basically say, oh, okay, here you go. Here's your crazy assassins who could kill, I don't know, dozens, hundreds, thousands of people. We don't care. We got to get back. You have to get back these people. No, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Even if you did it with money, I'd feel better about it. I wouldn't feel great about it, but I'd feel better about it. How are you not motivating them to do this again tomorrow? So, I mean, you can tell you, and this is what you do. This is what you do. You tell your citizens, you go there at your own peril. You go there at your own peril, and if you're kidnapped, we're not going to come, and they make up some stupid charges against you. We're not negotiating for you. That's our policy. We are never, ever, ever negotiating for you. We're not going to give up a single thing for you. We might yell at them, or we'll scream at them, hey, give them back. They're unlikely to listen to that, and you will be stuck there, arguably, for the rest of your life until they find some way of killing you. So don't go. Part of having the liberty and freedom is recognizing that a lot of places in the world, most places in the world, you don't have these kind of liberties and freedoms. And you're going to end up being taken hostage. Don't go. And if you do, woe unto you. Woe unto your family who will be mourning the fact that you're, decent chance that the government itself is going to come pick you up and throw you in some prison in the middle of Siberia. Have fun. Don't go to China. Tell them on all these hostile nations, you know what? Don't go. I'm so tired of basically oh, okay, so then they're going to send their assassins around the world, and then it's oh, okay, so now I guess we're stuck now. What are we going to do? We're going to exchange our prisoners. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. I'm so tired of it. Every 10 minutes, it seems as if am I the only one here who thinks that this is just it's such terribly stupid policy, such terribly, terribly stupid policy. You cannot exchange. You can't. I'm so aggravated. So aggravated. I want one person to call up and tell me I'm wrong. Just walk me through how I'm wrong. Yeah, I hear a baby crying also. I hear a baby crying. I don't know who in this house has a baby. I definitely hear a baby crying. And I'm wondering if it's my grandson, who was not here when I started this show. But it's possible if they're here now. I got on my phone line. I want someone to talk me off of the ledge because this gets me so aggravated. 972-454-0703. 972-454-0703. But it's not just 4 years. That's the problem, John, because Paul Whelan was taken hostage in 2018 because they figure eventually we'll get a Democrat in power. And eventually we'll find someone who doesn't have the cojones to stand up to us. Let's put it in the chat here. Maybe someone can pin it for me. I'm getting very aggravated. I'm very aggravated by this. You can't do it. You can't do it. So stupid. So stupid. I'm also frustrated by Fox. I'm not going to kid you. You want to watch this? Watch the conquering hero, Vadim, being brought home. Vadim Krasikov. Let's listen to him coming home. Assuming I get Fox not to screw up with me again.
My next guest is a close friend of his, Sir William Browder, worked as a foreign investor in Russia until he was expelled from the country for exposing mass corruption. And he has been a target of Vladimir Putin ever since. He's the CEO of Hermitage Capital Management and the head of the global Magnitsky Justice
I'm never going to find this again.
Call from Denise.
Denise, are you here to talk me off the ledge? Because I'm very aggravated tonight. I'm very aggravated tonight.
I'm going to try, Joe. I have always dreamed of going to Russia. Like, that's one of on my bucket list.
Yeah, okay. I dreamed of going to Atlantis. Atlantis is on my bucket list also.
But on this, exactly. At this point, I hope that the virtual reality can recreate that so that I can go. Because there's no way that I would physically go there right now.
Yeah, I'm saying like why, you have to sort of recognize that this is just. I mean, you can dangle from a cliff also, and you good chance you'll survive. It's like, why are you doing this? Like
exactly. No, I agree. It's in like we let the Merchant of Death go for Brittany Griner or whatever her name is.
Brittany Griner.
Yeah, that pissed me off so bad.
Yep.
I'm like, she went over there willingly, knowing their laws, and broke their laws, and she got caught. So she should have paid the if you can't do the crime, don't do the time, or can't do the time, don't do the crime. That should have been her. Mm-hmm. But stupid Biden, well, I don't think he had anything to do with it because he doesn't. The only thing he's concerned about is what flavor ice cream he's eating.
Yep.
But I mean, that's like, I'm sorry. Sports players should not have had that much clout or pull or anything.
How many people has
we left a Marine over there.
how many people has Vadim killed? Does anyone know this? Can anyone tell me that information? Do I need to look this up myself?
I don't know the exact number, but I am sure it's pretty high.
I want to look this up. How many people he was convicted? Vadim Krasikov convicted of killing. When he kills people tomorrow, what are you going to tell? What are you going to tell his victims? What are you going to tell them?
Exactly. At this point, unless America falls, I don't think I will ever step foot off American soil again. I've only been to Canada and Mexico.
The Washington
And I
Post
flew to Hawaii.
claims that Krasikov is serving a life sentence in Germany for the 2019 murder of a Chechen dissident in a Berlin park. The German court deemed that Krasikov most probably killed his victim at the behest of the FSB, the Russian intelligence agency. So there you go. There you go.
Wow.
Putin just rescued his mercenary. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Denise. I appreciate the call in.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a
I don't
great
think
night.
I talked you down very much, but
No, it's all right. I don't know if anyone has the capacity, but thank you. Thanks. Oh God. Ugh. So aggravating. Let me go back to this thing here. I want you all to watch Putin welcoming his conquering hero who he rescued.
For his accountant who was killed in a Russian prison. So, Bill, this is all very personal for you. Your thoughts on your friend coming home?
Let's skip forward. I don't care about his thoughts on his
about
friend
to see.
coming
So
home.
this is the returned prisoners who are about to get a hero's welcome home on the tarmac in Moscow.
These are the Russians coming
Bill,
back to
take
the
it away.
release.
What are your thoughts?
The released murderers coming
Well,
back to
as
Putin.
you heard from Vladimir, they tried to kill him twice with poison. He nearly died in both occasions. I went through that with him and his family, and it was the most traumatic thing ever. And then they arrested him and sentenced him to 25 years in solitary confinement in Siberia with the after effects of those poisons. And I thought there was almost a certainty that if he spent any significant length of time in that prison, he was going to die. And I have a lot of experience with people dying in prison because, as you mentioned, Sergei Magnitsky, who worked for me in Russia, was arrested, tortured, and killed in prison. And so, for me, it's extremely personal, and to see another close friend of mine sitting there almost dying was terrible. And so, for him to be released today, I mean, I can't even describe the euphoria, the tears of joy and relief that I've felt. His wife, his children, his mother. I mean, we have saved a life today by getting him onto safe territory, and so it's truly.
I can only imagine. I know you were also very close to Alexei Navalny. And just while we're talking, we are about to see these prisoners get a hero's welcome home. Among them is Vadim Klatnikov, who was being held in Germany. And this was the linchpin person that Putin wanted to get back. And Chancellor Scholz had to agree to this. This has been a very torturous process, getting him to agree to this. And here comes, I think this is Vladimir Putin. It's a little bit shadowed right now. Walking out.
Vladimir Putin.
Yes, walking out to greet these individuals. So you're happy. A lot of happy people here, but boy, Vladimir Putin's pretty happy today too. Your thoughts as we watch him walk out to this plane?
Well, so what do we have going on here? Every individual coming off that plane is a bona fide criminal, a convicted criminal.
And by the way, Putin going out, and I'm so scared of Fox being stupid on me again, but Putin going out there is a way of basically saying, I beat you, America. I beat you. Of course, Fox did that. You suck. That's what he's doing with that. He's saying, I beat you.
My next guest.
I beat you, and because I'm going to show you what a hero this guy is, that I myself am going to come out there to greet him. You care that much about Paul Whelan?
guest is a close friend of his, Sir
Yeah, we
William
heard you
Browder,
before.
worked as a foreign
who committed real crimes in Western countries where there's rule of law. The top criminal, of course, is this murderer, Vadim Krasikov. And then it goes down to scammers, fraudsters, spies, and other types of bad guys. Putin was able to orchestrate a situation where he took a bunch of innocent people like Evan Gershkovich, a Wall Street Journal reporter who did nothing other than journalism, Paul Whelan, who was just trumped up and charged with espionage for nothing. And then, of course, my friend Vladimir Karamurza and others who were put in jail for saying that the war was a war and protesting that war. And so you take a bunch of decent, honest people who Putin has arrested and taken hostage, and he swapped them out for a bunch of criminals who are about to walk off that airplane there. And,
Hey, potentially
as you
criminal
say,
folk.
here is welcome.
Welcome.
And what does this tell
Welcome
you?
to the
This tells you
following.
that Russia is a criminal state. He's a crime. He's a murderer, and he's a criminal. He's the head of a mafia state, and this is how they welcome back their criminals. And this image that we're looking at right now pretty much says it all.
Those folks are tall.
And I think it says it all. You know, they didn't have to.
They definitely, they know their
release
pomp
this
and
live
circumstance.
moment all around the world. They have a pretty tight grip on what gets out and what doesn't. And I believe that coming down the steps right now is Vadim Kalashnikov, the number one person that Putin wanted back. Big handshake, big bear hug from Putin. This is a man who was an assassin. And this is a stunning moment, but clearly Putin wants the whole world watching this part, Bill.
Yep.
Yeah, this is like cynicism, evil.
This is the display of
the
I
president
kicked
of the
your
country
ass.
is hugging a convicted murderer. I mean, that's all you need to see. And for anyone,
No
who
one's
thinks that
saying Putin's a good guy. The point is he's showing I kicked your butt.
Vladimir Putin is somehow in any way acceptable, just look at this image right now. He's hugging a killer.
So, Bill, how does this play into the larger picture as we watch more of these individuals come down? There's a young child among this group that's coming back to Russia. She's crying as this family returns, but he's in the middle of a very difficult war with Ukraine. Why now? Why is he releasing these people now, given the pressure he's under?
He's a hero to
in
them.
Ukraine?
He just rescued them.
Well, I think that he really wanted Krasikov back. He mentioned this on a number of occasions. He was very, very open about this. Why did he want this Krasikov back? We don't know. I've got my theories. My main theory is that he wants to send a message to other assassins that he may want to send out abroad for assassinations, that if you get caught,
I'll save you.
Take care of you. That may be the message. Or maybe he has some personal relationship with this particular murderer.
I think that's a very logical conclusion he's drawing there. It's a way of saying, don't worry, assassins, go out there and kill all you want. And if you get busted, I still got you covered. I got you covered. Daddy's got you. That's what he's doing. And Biden's like, yep, your daddy's got you. Because all he's got to do is just kidnap some innocent folk and press some charges against them. And we'll just give you up. We'll just give you up. And don't worry, if you actually have a president in power who's like, who actually cares about protecting American citizens and won't negotiate with lunatics like Putin, that we'll just wait out till a Democrat gets back in here. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Disaster. Utter walking disaster. Just Democrats making the world a more dangerous place to live yet again. Literally, it's almost like what they exist for. Democrats seem to exist for the purpose of making the world a crappier place. So aggravated. Off the ledge, please, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate it, Ella. You trying to get me off the ledge. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, don't worry about Kamala today. Liberace asked me to tell you to move your desk out of the That's funny. That's funny. There's way too few colors here for Liberace. That is great. That is really funny. Thank you for cheering me up, Goose Toots. Funds for more gold-plated decorations. Thank you kindly. Americans just landed. Look on the news. So check the news for that. Definitely go to Fox. Fox suck. Can't delete my Fox links quickly enough. Americans Landing. No. Prime Minister has been for years. I'm not saying it. I don't know. Sure, they're going to set him back. I'm not worried about that. I feel really outclassed here. Why? No. What? Don't feel outclassed. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No one should feel outclassed. Nobody at all should feel outclassed. Let me get into this. Let me get into this. Let me move on to the Olympian who got pummeled. I don't know what to make out of this story. These are a whole bunch of stories. I don't know what to make out of them. I don't know what to make out of the Russian prisoner exchange, but
This was a moment of history. It happened earlier today in France, and a major controversy, too, has now erupted out of Paris. An Algerian boxer shown in the red uniform who failed a gender eligibility test last year has now won an opening fight after only 46 seconds. Her opponent
46
breaking
seconds.
down in tears, calling it, quote, unjust. Greg Palcott picks it up from London with more on what happened in the ring. Greg.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, big controversy indeed at the Olympics. A boxer deemed a biological male beating an Italian female opponent, with the Italian crying out, "I couldn't take it anymore."
Wow.
Despite failing that gender test by the International Boxing Association and being banned from an international tournament last year, Algerian 25-year-old Iman Khalif was okayed by Olympic authorities to compete. And apparently today it was a very one-sided fight, with Italian Angela Carini, also 25. After just 46 seconds and several sharp punches to the head, including the nose by Khalif, Carini abandoned the fight, threw her helmet to the floor, stormed off the boxing ring, and in fact went on to say that she had never felt such strong blows in a contest before.
That's another
Now,
dude.
Algerian Khalif has competed for several years in other international tournaments, including the Olympics, but was banned last year due to, according to officials, elevated levels of testosterone. Algerian sports officials have called the charges against Khalif baseless, but others have raised concerns about the health of opposing athletes when, according to one, a man fights a woman. And Khalif is not the only one getting attention. Taiwan boxer Lin Yu Ting is competing in the Olympics, including a fight tomorrow, and has also been deemed a biological male, according to the International Boxing Association. In a statement, the IBA said in part, this test conclusively indicated that both athletes did not meet necessary eligibility criteria and were found to have competitive advantages over other female competitors.
What's a little testosterone between girls?
Boxing is a sport that teaches you to have respect for the opponent. It cannot and must not become an abuse. Back to you, Bill.
What a story. I think it's quite a moment in this.
So, all right, let's talk about this a little bit. Now, supposedly,
We're going to go back to Dan Hoff.
I'm not sure whether Iman is a trans woman. They're not going to tell us because they can't give us facts. Whether Iman was born with mixed, we'll call it mixed blessings. Mixed blessings. I think that's the way to put it, right? Mixed blessings. I just came up with that now, but I'm really liking it. So I don't know. Maybe your mom was born with mixed blessings. But this is what it's always amazing to me to watch. It's like this is the left just eating their own yet again. That's what this is. That's what this is. We have to be inclusive. We have to be inclusive, even if that means, oh my gosh, hold on 1 second. Let me take care of what's going on out here, okay? Like, I don't know what that is. Apologize for that. Anyhow, I happen to think it's kind of delicious when we see the left, like basically devouring their own. Because the Democratic Party, if you think about it, is a cobbling together of a whole bunch of folks whose interests are not really aligned under the ridiculously misguided perspective that we're going to save you and help you. So, who do they do this to? I mean, who? Well, frankly, who don't they do it to? The only people they don't do it to are straight white men. If you're not a straight white man, then there's something about your intersectionality that the Democratic Party is here for you. They're here to protect you. Anyone who's not a straight white man, we are here to protect you because you're oppressed. It took them a really long time to recognize that that was their overall messaging. But that's essentially what the Democratic Party has been for, I don't know, my lifetime. And that's essentially what they are. If you're not a straight white man, we're here for you. Oh, you're not straight? Oh, we're here for you. You're not white? Oh, you're a minority? We're here for you. You're not a man? You're a woman? Okay, we're here for you. Now, do gay folks, do they have like a lot in common specifically with, I don't know, Muslims? Probably not. Probably not a lot of overlap there. Not a lot of overlap there. Do trans folks have a lot in common with, feminist interests? Not really a lot of overlap there. No. It's basically this constant fissures within the Democratic Party because they're all like, we're all on this umbrella. You're not a straight white man. That means you're a good person. We love you. You're a great person. We love you because you have this element to your intersectionality, which makes you special, important, and special, powerful, and important. Obviously, stunning and brave. And we're here to basically, because if you don't come to us, we're going to be the ones who are looking out for your interests. Everyone else is out to get you. Everyone else is out to get you. We're here to help you because without us, your life is over. Everything about your whole existence, because obviously you're defined by whatever part of not being straight, not being white, or not being male you are. That's obviously the overarching theme of who you are. And it's the only thing that predominates everything about you. Because, God forbid anyone look at them as individuals. So you have to come to us and we're going to implement policies which definitely don't help you, but it's going to sound like it's a good thing for you. Even if it's not a good thing for you, like, I don't know, like racial quotas or this raising up into being like uniquely special trans folks. So we're gonna make you actually more miserable and telling you how we're the ones who are protecting you. So women of the world, look, without the Democratic Party, you're screwed because the patriarchy is going to come in here and they're going to dominate and ruin your life. We're here to protect and fight for you. Trans folks of the world, who want to fight against women, we're here for you. It's like how do you wrap your brain about around what the messaging is? It's a complete cluster fart. The entire thing is complete cluster fart. So now we come to this Olympics, which are unto themselves a cluster fart. I kind of had sworn to myself I wasn't going to talk about anything having to do with the Olympics after that ridiculously awful display that they made on opening night. And I don't really feel like we're talking about the Olympics so much. I don't even care about who the winners are or anything like that. I don't care about anything of that because the Olympics can go to hell for all I care. But the reality is that I don't know if this individual, like I said, maybe they were born with mixed blessings. Maybe they got a little from column A and a little from column B from coming out of the womb. Or maybe they surgically implemented. What I do know is this. Man's got elevated levels that did not exist 2 years ago. So whatever mixed blessings are of natural design, it seems likely. I'm not there. I'm not a doctor. I never even heard of this person more than an hour ago. But it seems likely, given what little facts we know, there was some enhancement going on there. And whether that enhancement was part of an overall change in their identity, or whether that enhancement came courtesy of oh wow, I need some of the good juice now because I got big competition coming up in summer 2024. Whatever it was, there was an enhancement. You would think to yourself that the Olympics, much like the International Boxing Association, would say, it's not really a great idea to have someone who's loaded up with testosterone or I don't know, whatever stuff they give horses to make them run faster, and then put them in a ring against a bunch of women. I mean, you might think that's not a good plan. Let's put them in a ring against a bunch of women in a competition where the objective is to punch them and pummel them into the earth. It doesn't take a great deal of foresight to say to yourself, I don't know if this is such a good plan. I don't know if this is really such a good thing. Like we're just thinking about this for a moment. So wait, we have two different fighters here. One of them's got this little extra juice, which scientifically shows us that their punches are going to be a lot more powerful. We're just going to throw them in the ring here. Let's sit back and see what happens. I mean, think about what they did. Let's just throw them in the ring, and we're going to sit back and we're just going to get our popcorn and see what happens here. And for 46 seconds, it probably was mildly entertaining. And then you start feeling bad after a while. He's like, oh my God, I hope she survives. I hope she makes it out of this. And wisely, she's like, I'm out. And thank God. And then afterwards saying, I never got punched so hard in my life. No, that's not completely predictable. Who could have seen that coming? Who could have seen that coming? How could anyone have seen that coming? Oh my God. How would anyone? You see, it's really, you can't fault anyone because this was completely unpredictable. And this is a problem that you can foresee is going to be happening over and over again. I mean, we've seen it happening over and over again. It made a national figure out of Riley Gaines when she's like, why the hell am I trying to compete against this guy who's like, he's got a little extra flipper in the water. I don't have. That seems kind of ridiculous. So Leah Thompson made some waves. Made waves that no woman can make. And it's like you ask yourself, what's the plan here? And the problem is there never really was a plan. There never was a plan. There only was one plan. You look at the Democratic Party, there only was one plan. And that was power. That's all the plan was. The plan was you got a bunch of folks who recognize, hey, here's a way that I can basically put myself in front of a pack of people by saying that I'm really special, really important, I really care about you, and I'm really here for you. I'm going to look out for you. And having no plan at all, zero plan. And then when you have this complete disaster of a boxing match, and I understand this is not America, I understand it's the Olympics, I understand it's a little bit different thing, but this entire series of events is helping set in motion by the Western world's perspectives about what we're going to deal with people who want to basically jump back and forth beyond what science naturally gives them into something that we Frankenstein them into, and all of a sudden you want to basically say, okay, now that we create our Frankensteins, what do we do with them? What do we do? What do we do with them when they actually want to step into a ring and pummel the hell out of a woman who was born a woman? And again, for all I know, Iman was born with mixed blessings. Mixed blessings. I don't know. I don't care. The reason the road has been paved for Iman to go in there and fight against the likes of an actual double X chromosome individual who doesn't have elevated levels of testosterone is because of the political fight that's been going on for the last 3 years, 5 years, etc., whatever, to try and to normalize and say that this is the definition of a woman. If you don't have that political fight going for the last 5 years, a person like Iman is not getting into the ring with an Italian woman, pummeling the hell out of her. So yeah, I understand it's not America. It's not happening on American soil. It's not really involving any Americans at all. It's involving some Algerian versus Italian woman in the middle of France. You might say it's got nothing to do with America. And to a degree, that's actually true with this specific story. But if you're actually looking as to how the narrative got shaped over the last 5-7 years, America played a pretty significant role in laying the political groundwork where the International Olympic Committee is like, oh, what we have to do is we have to show how enlightened we are. We have to make sure that no matter how elevated the testosterone levels are of a female boxer, we have to say that they're really, 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 really a woman, completely, totally. We really, really believe that they're a woman, that we don't care how much testosterone they have. They can just go on in there and just beat the lights out of some poor chick who steps into the ring with them. I get torn between feeling actually sorry for this woman and laughing. Is it wrong that I kind of laugh? I feel almost mean that I'm laughing. I feel bad for this woman. She trained her whole life to get into a ring and actually fight against another woman. And look, we can talk about the idea of women's sports in general. I mean, I guess it's like a hobby. It's okay. I guess it's okay. I guess it makes sense. Helps develop some discipline, some health. Yeah, I get that. I understand it. It's not really sport in the sense of sport. Now, this is going to get me in trouble. I just got 3 new female members of the following tonight. I'm not looking to get in trouble. I mean, okay, so like if we look at the elements to sport in general, I'm just going to put it this way. Look at the elements to sport in general, okay? Let's just break it down. Is the purpose of sport to develop your competitive abilities? Is it the purpose of sports for health? Is the purpose of sport for entertainment? Is the purpose of sport to prove a point as to who is the best? These are all different potential purposes to sport. Okay? These are all different potential purposes to sport. Learn who's the best. For the entertainment value of seeing equally, call it handicapped, right? Equally handicapped, even if they're, and when I say handicapped, what I mean is we all understand that a woman boxer has no chance against a male boxer. I mean, no chance. And that's not to say a woman boxer couldn't beat the tar out of me. I'm sure she could. But, I'm not an athlete. So, like, I don't know what that's not proving anything. My point is, so when we're looking at women's sport in general, I guess there's a competition element that, you want to show you're the best at it. But you're the best of people in a certain category. You're not the best in the world. I mean, you all understand that, right? You're the best of a certain category. And not to say it's exactly the same thing, but you could similarly say that, when you have like wheelchair Olympics, these are people who are more literally handicapped, and that they're basically competing against each other. And saying, okay, those of us who don't have legs that function properly, how do we, which of us are the best at playing basketball? And that's, it's a sport which can be entertaining. But you're sort of like from this class. And you can almost look at it, by the way, like boxing is a great example of this. In boxing, you know, they have different weight classes because they understand that a welterweight versus a lightweight versus a heavyweight is just they're not going to be the same competition. They're just not geared for the same thing. Similar to a woman versus, so you can say, why would you have a welterweight competition? Why would you have a lightweight competition or middleweight? Just have a heavyweight fight and just go with that. And what if it's all about who's the best, Joe? And that's a fair argument. I think it's a very fair argument. Well, anyway. Bottom line is, so these are all different levels of handicap that I was just sort of parsing through my brain. And yeah, I'm kind of talking to myself right now. I understand that. I'm sort of like thinking this through as I'm saying. So amongst men, there's different classes, divisions in boxing and stuff like that based on the size of the individuals. Based on, and then you got, you know, women as their own class and different size. I'm sure they have different weight classes for women and handicap. And you can say, you know, if you only want to figure out who's the best in the world, in that case, you should only have one class and forget about all those other classes. And what's the point? I think it's a fair point. Anyway, there's definitely benefits to the sport. There's definitely benefits to having sports for women, handicapped, for everyone, children, little leagues, all these different things. There's benefits to it for people who are never going to end up making a career out of it, just for purposes of the competition and things of that nature. And then the competition does get completely destroyed because you're sort of anticipating that I'm going to be going against similarly situated individuals. And that's the whole point of parsing out these different classes, right? Is that we have, okay, whatever the disability is, and I'm not trying to say that, and frankly, in a lot of ways, I think that women have many advantages over men. It happens to be that in most areas of sport, men's physical muscle natural abilities is going to put them head and shoulders against most women. When I'm talking about, you know, athlete male versus athlete female, they're going to struggle. And it's tough to find a sport that they're not going to. So we have these different classes. And my point is, I do think it's a positive thing to divide things up in different classes. And the point of the different classes is that each of these different is that you're competing against people who are similarly situated to you. Right? That's why we have these different classes. We have to find some grouping. I mean, obviously, no two people are the exact same scenarios. Some people are born with more natural ability or more naturally tailored for something, but you sort of have to have some sort of class. So we have these arbitrary classes that we came up with, that this is the right cutoff to keep people similarly situated in this element and that element, and whether it's gender or size or weight or physical disability. Well, anyway. And that's what happens when we come into a fictional world and we pretend that our fictional world is real. So when we start making that our fictional world is real, and that's what Democrats have done with the trans movement. So now it's like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Put these men who now are trans women, put them in a ring with their elevated testosterone and just go watch them pummel the hell out and destroy female sports. And then you give J.K. Rowling an excuse to go off and scream on Twitter as to like how completely unjust this is. I haven't searched Twitter today to see how she reacted to this fight, but I do think it's probably somewhat entertaining. Let me see if she said anything. Now I'm curious. No, I'm curious. Did she say anything? Did she say anything? Why would you pay money to watch an Algerian man beat up European women at the Olympics when you can walk around Paris and see that for free? Nice. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Let me see if J.K. Rowling said anything here. Let me see if she said anything. J.K. This is exactly the sort of area that she's likely to freak out. What did you got for me, JK? Nah, I knew she was going to be man. Someone with a DSD cannot help the way they were born, but they can choose not to cheat. They can choose not to take medals from women. They can choose not to cause injury. I knew she wasn't going to be happy today. I knew she... Can any picture sum up our new men's rights movement better? The smirk of a male who knows he's protected by a misogynist sporting establishment, enjoying the distress of a woman he's just punched in the head and whose life ambition he's just shattered. I knew she wasn't gonna be happy. I knew she wasn't gonna have it today. A young female boxer just had everything she's working training for snatched away because you allowed a male to get in the ring with her. You're a disgrace. Your safeguarding is a joke, and Paris 24 will be forever tarnished by the brutal injustice done to Karini. Let's see what she says this one here.
Safe sport initiative. We're talking about physically and psychologically safe athletic environments, so both mental health and also safeguarding. We're really pleased that the Olympic Games Paris 2024 has the most comprehensive package of mental health and safeguarding, so safe sport initiatives.
And some of their female athletes, some of the female athletes have comprehensive packages as well. Yeah, I said it.
This is infrastructure than any other Olympic or sporting event in history. I wanted to take you through a little bit of it. Here, I don't know if you had the chance to see on the tour through the village previously, but here we have the Athlete 365 Mind Zone, which has been developed in collaboration with Powerade. And it's staffed by my team at the IOC Safe Sport Unit in the IOC Medical and Scientific Department. We worked really closely together with the athletes department on developing this concept because it's what the athletes wanted. Athletes really wanted a space within the Olympic Village where they could disconnect and decompress. We know that mental health is a critical topic for athletes, and it's something that we see in general. So around 1 in 3 people across the world will experience at some point in their life a mental health symptom or disorder, and athletes are people too.
That's a lie. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. Although I do think that athletes are more likely to have mental health disorders than non-athletes.
And it was really important that we focused on mental health and well-being at the Games, and it's our main entry point for safe sport.
JK Rowley ain't having it. Young female boxer just had everything she worked and trained for snatched away because you allowed a male to get in the ring with her. You're a disgrace. Your safeguard is a joke. And Paris 2020, Paris 24 will be forever tarnished.
About safe.
Why are you still watching it? I knew Riley Gaines had something to say about this too. So I get 2 for 1 here. Look at this. This is all J.K. Rowling's thread. Watch this whole thread and then explain why you're okay with a man beating a woman in public for entertainment. Okay, we're going to see this? Let's see this. Let's watch it. Oh, I want the... That's her tapping out. She's like, I'm not doing this. It was a wise move on her part. She wants to know what's going to take. You need to have a female boxer left with life-altering injuries. I think that's happening. UK's blocking puberty blockers. Why don't we have that here? Why don't we have that here? I don't know. Well, anyway. I think that's most of my. I think I gave you most of my thoughts. I saved some for another time, for another day. I feel I saved some. But I gave you most. I gave you most of my thoughts on this. Honorable Leader Joe, no. In keeping with the new digs, can we add gold tracksuits to the website for the farm? Child in the tunnel. I repeat, child in the what? Why is that? Oh, you're talking about when I had a kid here. Kathy saying Putin is the badass they love. First, he sends out hitmen. Second, hold innocent people so you can. Third, exchange hostages via special forces. Isn't that what they fear Trump would do? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I'll give you one of these. But even a Supreme Court justice can't define a woman. So how can we have a male and female Olympic sports? Wrong is right and right is wrong. That's exactly. You should sit in here. You should sit in here, Kathy. You should just sit in. Anyone else remember the East German Women Olympic athletes in the 60s and 70s? This is cheating just like that was. 100%. What Kimmy is referencing here is when they basically had taken testosterone. The East German women athletes were all exposed in this. It was a big scandal in the 60s and 70s. Hormones elevated as chemical chromosomes are in DNA. Can't fake it. I've heard both exist in this story. Like I said, I don't know what this individual point deal is. It's really not even about this particular story. It's just a touching off point for me. There's a reason we have Paralympics and Special Olympics. If they want to compete, let them have their own category. Protect women in sports. And like I said, you sort of need to break down, like, what's the point of having sport? What is the point of having sport? If the point of having sport is to say we're going to have people who are similarly situated compete against each other so that they can, see who's the best in this particular class, which admittedly is somewhat arbitrary often. Like when you talk about the weight class being 1 pound higher, 1 pound lower, that's obviously a very arbitrary number. But there is a clear division between men and women, which makes it easier to divide. It basically, the reason people have an issue with there being women's sports is because they're like, well, you're not proving the best in the world anyway. But by that logic, you should only have one weight class for men in boxing. So I do think it makes sense to have different divisions. But, and to have, women's sport. But I think it's good. But there should be a recognition. The reason we have women's sport is because ain't no friggin' way that they could that a female athlete could possibly compete with a male athlete. And I think most people intuitively understand that. It's just, it's like almost like if you had, like, amongst men, people who are in basketball, one group of like normal height people versus like, 7-footers. Like, what's the point? What is the friggin' point? Hey, Karen, crack open that glass of Coke. Their hearts come by nowadays. Make yourself useful. What? Oh, is that like some video I was just watching? Is that what that was? A glass of Coke. That was pretty funny. Gosh! Well, I guess we can add Paris to Luxembourg and Belgium when referring to the Battle of the Bulge. Nice. Oh, that's good. That took me a second. That was really good. That was really good. Did you know Battle of Bulge was Luxembourg and Belgium or like beforehand? Did you Google it? Because if you had to Google it, I wouldn't blame you at all. Because that was you got that. You did that really well, Cash. Really, really well. That was really good. That was really, really good. All right, what the heck? Oh, wait. Barrett Boy says the issue becomes really serious. An incident from June 2023. Peyton McNabb suffered a severe injury when a biological male spiked volleyball caused brain damage and paralysis. I knew somebody got hurt. I knew somebody got hurt from it. That's the name, Peyton McNabb. And I forgot it was volleyball. I think she's like she has life-destructive injuries. Just totally coincidence. This reminds me of something that I pulled up on stream like 2 years ago. But back then, there were a lot fewer people watching. This is 2 years ago. So apparently in New Zealand, or whatever part of the southern hemisphere this is, they call basketball netball. Netball, as you're going to hear over and over again in this report about men dominating women in the netball state championship. It's a good time to revisit this video because it's one of my favorite videos of all time.
An attitude among the crowd.
These are for girls only. Remind me of your gender again.
The Queensland Suns all-boys team, the new under-18 state champions, beating Bond University's Bull Sharks, an all-female side.
They should have forfeited. Yet again, we're seeing male entitlement.
Everyone should have the right to participate in any sport they choose, and it doesn't matter what your gender is.
What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another
This isn't
video.
what I
Give me the
wanted.
HBO.
Not the one I wanted. Damn it. I don't want you. Here I was settled in here. I was very excited.
An all-boys netball team is allowed to compete against...
This is what I wanted.
An all-boys netball team is allowed to compete against an all-girls team for the state title. Now, the all-boys team wins every match, running up huge score lines, including a 30-goal victory in the grand final. All the while, parents watch on. They're angry, but they're powerless from the sidelines. Now, it all sounds like a bit of fiction, doesn't it? A Hollywood movie. That's exactly what happened at the Queensland netball titles earlier this week, where the all-male Queensland Suns blitzed their all-female competitors to be crowned the Queensland under-18 state champions. Now, it's been labelled crazy and unfair, but Netball Queensland is refusing to apologise. For her reaction, I want to bring co-founder of Save Women's Sport Australasia, Catherine Deves. Catherine...
It's obviously a very serious issue that they're dealing with in Queensland.
You may have been a netballer in your day. I was. I played mixed netball, but I don't know if I'd like to be in a team of women going up against a team of athletic men. Who in their right mind thought this was okay?
Well, look, I was a field hockey player, but what I'd like to say is that when Netball Australia says this is all about inclusion, who's being included here? Because it's certainly not the women and girls. They're being excluded. They're being expected to yet again sacrifice their sports to make sure that men and boys feel included and men and boys feel good about themselves. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. And I'm not surprised that the parents are absolutely furious about this. And I am sure that if the girls were asked privately.
So apparently, they're very frustrated with the boys are joining in the women's netball. Parents or the girls are rightfully outraged.
They would also be very unhappy with what's happening here.
Yeah, you're referring to a statement by the Netball Queensland CEO, Catherine Clark. I'll put it up on the screen for people. She said that we stand by the decision to choose inclusion over exclusion. Let's judge the decision in 12 months' time and see how many boys and men's team we have. Because if you can't be it, you can't see it if you can't be it. Now, I've no issue if there's a male competition, but why would you have a state competition that's predominantly always been women and suddenly bring the blokes in and have the blokes win the grand final 30 goals to
bring the blokes in for netball?
The women's team? That doesn't seem fair to me.
Doesn't seem fair to me either.
No, when we watch women's sports, we want to see the best women and girls that the world has to offer. We don't want to see men and boys taking up space on the netball court or on the podium. And frankly, I'd like to say to these boys, they should have forfeited.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see boys on the netball court. Man, that's not what people came to see.
I mean, if they wanted to play netball, they should have done what women and girls have always historically done, over the years and decades and centuries of fighting for equality, for access to sporting opportunities. And we've gotten out there, we've done the recruiting, we've done the fundraising, we've built our own leagues. And here you have these boys going, oh, I want to be included, so I'm just going to jump on in with the women, and I don't care about their right to fair competition, don't care about their right to safety. I'm just going to play. So yet again, we're seeing male entitlement, a lovely example of it here from Netball Australia. There you go.
Netball Australia is really, it's the struggle is real for Netball Australia. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that's relevant to this entire story. I don't know what you're talking about, John.
Yeah, of course, women have fought for a long time in AFL to get a women's league up. I mean, if this sort of decision stands, you'd be putting men into the women's AFL.
So this is a problem we've been seeing with mixed in sports for a while now. This is a problem that we've been seeing for quite a while.
League, even though there is already a men's AFL league, and you're taking the cause of women's sport back by decades. I would have got another issue. The International Olympic Committee, they've delayed the release of the new transgender guidelines until next year, due, they say, to an apparent...
All right, well, anyway, I don't want to get into that. It's like, all right. It's been a while since I saw that. Those two women really broke it down for me in ways. Okay. Let's do Don Lemon. Let's do Don Lemon's complaint. Don Lemon versus Elon Musk. Lemon versus Musk. Lemon versus Musk. Let's do it. Lemon versus Musk. All right. Fraud. So he's filing here. Let's be clear. So it's a state. He's in state court, Superior Court of State of California, County of San Francisco. Okay. All right. So these are state-based claims, not federal claims. Let's see what we got here. Plaintiff, Lemon, worst, 7-time winner, worst broadcaster of the year, Don Lemon, alleges on the basis of personal knowledge and or information and belief. Plaintiff, 7-time winner, worst broadcaster of the year, Don Lemon, is an American journalist, best known for his work with CNN from September 2006 till his tenure ended rather abruptly in April 2023. Relatable and charismatic is not how most people would say it, but we're his attorneys and he's paying us. Lemon's work defies genre. I knew this was going to be good. Oh, I knew this was going to be good. Yeah, it definitely defies genre because it ain't exactly news, not exactly journalism. So, yeah, I definitely agree it defies journalism. Candidly exposing injustice and the resiliency of the human spirits. Whose spirit? At all times throughout his career, Lemon has been an exemplary journalist, known for sticking of his finger in his own, in the eyes of powerful people, including politicians and public officials, asking uncomfortable questions, and as a black gay man, fighting to make diverse viewpoints heard. His own? I don't know what this paragraph means. Like, is he fighting for other black men, other gay men, other diverse people, or just his own voice to be heard? I don't know. You can take that paragraph either way you want. I knew this was going to be hilarious. I knew you guys you didn't appreciate the comedy behind this. I knew there'd be comedy here. I knew this would be gold. Gold! It's gold, Jerry. Gold. Following Musk purchasing X, at the time known as Twitter, Musk fired top executives, laid off a significant portion of staff, and reinstated banned accounts. Not really relevant to this complaint at all, but we just want to make him sound like he's an ogre. In response, major companies suspended and decreased their advertising on X, also not relevant, and Elon Musk is suing them for it. He's suing various entities for that ridiculousness. Amid defendants' ongoing struggles to retain advertisers, I don't think he's struggling to retain advertisers. Defendants sought to affiliate with reputable figures whose name, likeness, and reputation they could use to piggyback off of to retain advertisers. Because everyone knows that seven-time winner, worst broadcaster, worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, is going to help you retain advertisers. I mean, it's weird that CNN fired him, but yeah. Lemon was a top prospect for X, and thus defendants saw an opportunity and sought to reach an exclusive partnership deal with Lemon following his termination at CNN at a time when Lemon was vulnerable. Oh, he was vulnerable. Oh, they got him after he was fired when he was vulnerable. Can you believe it? They hit him when he was vulnerable. He was all alone. He had been working in a supposed major news network for 17 years, and then he was kicked to the curb, and he's alone, and he's vulnerable. A big, mean ogre who fires everybody, Elon Musk, came up to him and says, "I'm here with some candy for you, Lemon." He was vulnerable. Oh, my God. After drinks and dinner, Lemon gave up. After Lemon rightfully expressed reservations about agreeing to an exclusive partnership deal, did he? But did he though? Did he really express reservations? Really? Given the ongoing controversies surrounding the X platform, were there really ongoing controversies that scared him away? Defendants remained undeterred, going on to induce Lemon through false promises. They said they'd buy him dinner and representations about what would be expected of them and how much Lemon would be compensated to get him to agree, all while concealing material facts from Lemon. They were keeping him in the dark. Defendants did this to accomplish what they truly intended to do: publicize a partnership between X and Lemon, and thereby associate and promote the X brand with Lemon's good name, likeness, identity, reputation to rehabilitate defendant's reputation. Really? This is the angle you're going with? And promote the partnership of defendants association with Lemon on defendant's website, social media accounts, and promotional events and elsewhere to sell advertisers on the X platform and otherwise profit and gain advantage commercially. Then why'd they cut him 10 minutes later? Why is that? Why is that? That's what the goal was. They're trying to trade in on his name, likeness, identity, reputation. And I'm pretty sure that midway through his interview, Elon Musk was sitting there saying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that this guy is considered a journalist." But contrary to the promises and representations made to Lemon, once defendants were enriched and gained the benefits of using Lemon's name, likeness, identity, reputation, they reneged on their express agreement with Lemon and have failed to compensate him, citing to false pretenses for the breach of their partnership agreement. This breach came after Lemon spent considerable time, effort, and resources in creating exclusive content for defendants. Oh, sure. Lemon had gone to great lengths and incurred hundreds of thousands of dollars of expenses in forming his own media company, collaborating with his agents based in California on what his new show would look like, seeking business proposals from numerous production companies, entering into a production deal with a content studio and production company, creating a production studio where he could record his video content, purchasing production equipment, hiring production staff, and assembling a production team. I would say this: there probably was a great deal of expense that he incurred to help set up his own thing, but it's not like he doesn't still have it anyway. But okay. Is he stepping out of the game altogether? Can't use it anymore? Just wondering. Defendants deliberately misrepresented what they intended to do. Defendants knew that if they accurately represented Lemon, that the purpose of meeting an exclusive partnership deal was to use Lemon's name, likeness, reputation, and identity to rehabilitate defendant's reputation and draw in advertisers to the X platform. Lemon would never have agreed to do what he and defendants would have been unable to utilize Lemon to keep up their ongoing efforts to woo advertisers. Okay. Now, I just want to point something out to you. First and foremost, I'm a commercial litigator, licensed practice law in the state of New York. In case you're wondering, my attorney ID number is 2974319. So really, that really is like what I did for decades. Now, what this means is I understand business law fairly well, as practiced in the state of New York. Now, fortunately, for the most part, certainly with respect to common law elements, I can tell you that there's tremendous overlap from one state to another. So I will share with you perspective based on New York law, and I will tell you when I would anticipate that it would be similar in California, and then I'll tell you when I think that it would be different, or maybe different in California. But it always could be different. It could be different. But I'll tell you sometimes when I feel that it's more likely rather than less likely. The reason I'm bringing this up at this juncture is because we're sort of setting up here his first cause of action, which I noticed that if you look at that he puts in his complaint here, and this is something that they do in California, which we would never do in New York. Never. I've never seen anyone do this in New York. Is putting out your causes of action in the caption. And I think it's actually a pretty handy thing to have, I guess. It's a nice thing. I don't have a problem with this. I'm just saying stylistically, it looks different than what I've seen throughout my career. But that could be a California thing. Okay. But the interesting thing here is the first one, fraud. The reason fraud is so interesting is because under common law, which means this is what should be applying in all 50 states, when you plead fraud, you must be very specific. And if you fail to be very specific in your allegations, in your complaint, that cause of action will likely be dismissed. It's considered a fatal defect. That is certainly the law in New York. I would be very surprised if it is not also the law in California. I'd be very surprised if you told me that there's any jurisdiction in this fair land of ours, but that is not the case. What do I mean when I say you must plead with specificity? Pleading with specificity means you need to say precisely what was said, when it was said, how it was said. Much like when you talk about defamation, which also must be pled with specificity, you need to say you need to be very detailed in what he said or did that you had a reasonable basis to rely on to your detriment. It has to be something he said or did that was not true for the scienter, the intent of causing you to rely on it. Scienter is Latin term for intent. You have this similar to mens rea. Mens rea means mental state. But the scienter is that you have, it's really a negative intent to cause someone to rely on them, and they reasonably do rely on you to their detriment, and then there are damages. That's what makes it fraud. The difference between fraud and negligence and misrepresentation is that fraud has that scienter element to it, that you need to be trying to trick the person. So that means you need to show that the person knew that what they were saying was crap. That's one difference. The other difference is fraud must be pled with specificity. Normally, misrepresentation, not so much. Not so much. That could vary. That part could vary from one jurisdiction to another. So that's why he says misappropriation of name and likeness. That basically means stealing his name and likeness, and also name and likeness under Civil Code 334. That's a specific California statute. Breach of express contract. That's interesting because express contract sounds like it's not written. And that can play a role here. And unjust enrichment basically means we had a contract, but not really a contract. It was sort of quasi-contractual. You benefited. You gained from this situation, and your gain caused me harm. So that's what unjust enrichment is, ultimately. Let's return to where we were at here in this very, truly enjoyable complaint so far. I'm not going to kid you. All right. Lemon would never have been agreed to what he did, and defense would have been unable to utilize Lemon to keep up their ongoing efforts to woo advertisers. Did they use Lemon? Is that really how they used it? Is that really what happened? But really, is that really? Was there any advertisers like, ooh, they have Don Lemon, who's CNN kicked to the curb. Ooh. Now we're coming back. Ooh. Plaintiff 7-time winner of Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon, is an all-times mentioned the complaint was and a resident of New York County, New York. New York County is Manhattan. Defendant, okay, I don't need to go through the parties. Let's skip through. We don't care about the parties. We understand who the parties are. We'll just mention the Doe defendants. Defendants Doe 1 to 100 inclusive are sued under fictitious names pursuant to the Code of Civil Procedure, Section 474. Plaintiff is informed believes that each defendant sued under fictitious names is in some manner responsible for the wrongs. In other words, these are companies that might be related behind the scenes that I don't know about yet, that I want to basically throw into the complaint without having to have a whole amendment to the complaint. So sometimes you'll use John Doe, or I guess in this case, Doe defendants being corporations, for different entities that are related to X, but may not actually be X. In this way, you say, don't slip away because I mean the wrong party. Yeah, let's get past your jurisdiction. I'm going to assume that they have jurisdiction over it. We're going to assume for now. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they got the right courthouse. Okay. If I was defending this case, I would spend time doing that. But for purposes of this stream, there's really no need. Don Lemon, 7-time winner, Worst Journalist of the Year. Don Lemon is an American journalist and trusted information source, best known for his work with CNN from 2006 until 2023. Here we go. We're going through this. This is a paragraph they copy and pasted, which doesn't make it any more true than the first time you said it. It sounds kind of stupid, but I'll assume you all were here 5 minutes ago when I read that paragraph. Lemon reported anchored on the scene for CNN in many breaking news stories, including No One Cares. No one cares. Michael Brown, George Zimmerman, Boston Marathon. Who cares? Deaths of Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. Okay. I mean, they're trying to show he's important and significant, and that's why there was an incentive to, that he's got a reputation that can be harmed. His likeness matters. So I understand why they're saying this, but I don't need to hear about his stupid resume. Lemon's influence, direction, and execution as a journalist has led to recognition with numerous awards, including the 2005 Edward R. Murrow Award, 3 regional Emmy Awards in 2006. Yeah, he got the Edward R. Murrow Award before he worked for CNN and then basically sold out to them, I guess, and other awards. Lemon was named one of the 150 most influential African Americans by Ebony Magazine in 2009, and now we're in 2024. So one of the 50 most influential LGBTQ people in the media in 2014, and in 2019 was named as the Pride 50 trailblazing individuals who actively ensure society remains moving towards equality, acceptance, and dignity for all queer people. Wow. Wow. Imagine having all of this on one resume. Phew. Lemon was deliberately and carefully promulgated a certain image or reputation which showed that he would be taken seriously as a journalist. I wonder, was this before or after he was sued for reaching down and grabbing his junk and then shoving it in some dude's face? Is that before or after? Because, I mean, if we're talking about his reputation, I will tell you that incident comes in with respect to his reputation. They here are making, and perhaps by necessity, but they are making his reputation at issue here. So his reputation, that you want to say that he was in Ebony Magazine in 2009 and then stepped down from 2009, that he was still remembered by the LGBT people in media, in the Advocate, whatever that was, in 2014, and then some people still remember him in 2019. Is this before or after, when they're all calling him really influential? Is that before or after that infamous incident where he basically sexually assaulted a dude? And I don't want anyone to take out of context what I mean when I say there was an essay. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that he violated a person in the way that people think of when you talk about the worst types of violation. But the incident, as I recall, was that he got into an argument with somebody in a restaurant and then basically stuck his hand into his own clothing and pulled it out and then shoved his stinking fingers in the guy's face, which I label that an assault. So anyhow, it certainly didn't enhance his reputation in CNN. I know that. So I wonder when they're talking about he's deliberately and carefully promulgated a certain image, because that's the image I have of him. That and him completely gaslighting and being completely buried by Vivek Ramaswamy in his last interview that he ever held on CNN, where he was just thoroughly gaslighting about issues of race, and Vivek called him on it and spanked him. In a way, Vivek spanked him in ways that probably made his husband jealous. Advertising revenue drops drastically after Musk purchases X. So now they're trying to show that there was a need for him. There was an incentive. See, I don't know why I guess they're trying to. So this is what I think about when I look at this. Hey, why are you putting this in the complaint? Whatever you put in the complaint, you're basically implying I'm going to be proving this to you. Now, maybe they feel they have an easy time proving this. I don't have the red well. It's possible that's what they think. But at the end of the day, you have to prove what you're saying here. Is this like a necessary part of it? Maybe they just want to enhance themselves. Let's say advertising revenue didn't drop. You're saying that Elon wouldn't have done this? All right. This is what they put in here. Major companies suspended and revenues declined 60% year over year through August 2023. X struggled to make deals with major advertising brands. Here's our numbers showing the decline. Okay. Amid defendants' ongoing struggle to retain advertisers, defendants sought to affiliate with reputable figures. Can you name any others? Can you name any others that they did that with? One other reputable figure that they sought to affiliate with? Was he in a group of people? It was just Lemon. Just Lemon. Because if you had other people, like, multiple figures that they approached, that they tried, fixing their reputation with, and Lemon was one of them. Lemon was a top prospect, a gay black man with an excellent reputation, household name. He doesn't have an excellent reputation. He was a perfect candidate to partner with to aid their dying advertisement revenue. But they're going to say that. I mean, look, it's their lawyers. It's his lawyers. They're going to say that. Defendants saw their opportunity to plant this seed with Lemon in May 2023. Shortly after Lemon was terminated by CNN, started publicly seeking an exclusive partnership deal with Lemon. Aware of Lemon's vulnerable state, Musk responded to Lemon's post on X announcing that CNN terminated him. In the post May 9th, 2023, Musk stated, "Have you considered doing a show on this platform? Maybe worth a try. Audience is much bigger." So I don't think this was about advertisers. I think he just wanted to get people doing shows on X. I mean, I think he did that, let's say, with Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. On June 8th, Musk again publicly encouraged Lemon to join the platform, post saying, "It'd be great to have Matt Out, Don Lemon, and others on the left put their shows on this platform." Okay, so is it because of their reputation or because he thought they had a following? I don't think he cares about his reputation. I think he cares about the following. During Lemon's June 16, 2023 phone call with Musk asked Lemon to enter an exclusive partnership deal with X and commented, "I want you on the X platform, and this is what you should be doing." Lemon expressed reservations about entering into partnership with X due to the ongoing controversies surrounding the platform. In response, and to induce Lemon to enter into an exclusive partnership deal with X, Musk represents Lemon that he would have full authority and control over the work he produced, even if he disliked by defendants. Okay. What's interesting to me about this, I want to know what the deal was. What was the deal that got yanked? And we should be learning that in the course of this complaint. So he says, "I'm going to give you full control, and there would be no need for formal written agreement or to fill out paperwork." Uh-oh. No, Donnie. Yes, this is because here's the thing. You want to know why I knew there was no written contract? So when there's a written contract, you don't start with fraud. You start with breach of contract. That's what you start with. Fraud is always much tougher to prove than breach of contract. Breach of contract, what you do is we march up there, you say, "Here's the contract. Look at paragraph 27. Look at clause 27, paragraph 4 thereof, where it says Musk is going to do this, and it's labeled as termination of agreement. It says, in this event, this is what will happen. And they never did this. That's what you do. Not try and go through some whole convoluted, he made a promise and there was a thing that and he told me this and then I made me buy this. And no, you're like, here it is. Boom. Voila. Look at that right up there. Right up there. It says in the paragraph over there. Look at that. Right here. Look at that. You see that? Boom. Right there. That's where he breached. That's what you do. You always go for the low-hanging fruit when you're a lawyer. There's no extra points. There's no points for artistry. They're like, oh, look at that. He had breach of contract. And it's going to be more fun to go with a fraud claim. He thought that'd be more entertaining. Show his skills as a lawyer. Bring out that fraud claim. No, you go straight to the breach of contract. Unless, of course, there's no need for formal written agreement or fill out paperwork, which basically means you know that your dinkle is swinging in the wind if things don't work. He's savvy enough to know that. I mean, you've been working in this industry for 20 years. I think by now you should be savvy enough to know that contract means there's plenty of backseas. You can't say no backseas. The reason you don't have a contract is because you're saying, no, there will be backseas. There will be. You can't tell me. I don't want to hear you say no backseas because that's why I'm not signing a contract with you. I could pay someone a few bucks and have them kick out a contract to you in 10 minutes, but I'm not doing that. You want to know why? Because there's backseas. That's why. That's why. There's plenty of backseas. You're going to be feeling the backseas. I'm going to be backing over you with a truck. It'll be a good run while we're at it. We'll have fun with it while we're at it. But I'm not giving you some commitment here because I think there's a good chance you might suck. After all, you won 7 years in a row, worst journalist of the year. I think I want to be able to have backseas. There's going to be backseas. There's going to be lots of backseas. In November 2023, defendants' ongoing struggle to retain advertisers magnified. As major companies halted their advertising spending on X, including IBM, Apple, and Disney, defendants were now in a rush to publicly announce a partnership with Lemon. Okay. All right. Well, that's convenient. On December 14th, Lemon intended an in-person meeting with Yaccarino and Whites at De Umberto Italian restaurants in New York City to discuss the potential of a partnership. During the meeting, Lemon told Yaccarino and Whites that it was important for him to maintain his journalistic integrity because I need to sell whatever crap I'm selling. And that's what he calls his integrity. And the next step in his career following his termination from CNN was a pivotal one. Because of the ongoing controversy surrounding the X platform, Lemon expressed that he was hesitant to enter into a partnership with X unless he had defendants' full support. You mean like a contract? Because that's what full support means. Sort of spell it out. You spell it out in a contract. In response, and to induce Lemon to enter into the partnership with X, or at least to announce the partnership, Yaccarino Whites assured Lemon that he and defendants' full support, that Lemon would have full authority over his work and should not have concerns about defendants imposing on his work and not agreeing with anything he does. Is this you're suing Elon Musk individually? Is this Elon? Is this Elon himself? Is it Elon himself? Is he the right defendant here? Because it doesn't sound like he was at this meeting. It doesn't sound like he was inducing you. All right, look, you're gonna name him. I get that. But he's got full authority over his work and should not have concerns. Okay, he still has full authority over his work. Following the meeting with Yaccarino Whites, Lemon remained undecided, committing a partnership with defendants. What is the term of the partnership? That's what I want to know. That's what I get to. Our defendants would not be deterred. Oh, they were coming after him hard. He was the belle of the ball. Defendants continue to make these same representations to Lemon, including that he would have full authority and control of the work he produced, even if disliked by defendants. Okay. Moreover, defendants started to induce Lemon by promising a revival of his career following his termination from CNN, knowing he was in a particularly vulnerable and susceptible state. I want my career back. My career is over, and I want my career back. I'm feeling very. Don't worry, we'll give you your career back. I really want my career back. That's my career. I'm very vulnerable right now. All right. On December 24, 2023, Yaccarino told Lemon and his agent via text, Getting ready to toast all of you many times. Many times. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. On December 30th, Whites told Lemon via text, "You're set up for a lot of money this year. You're going to make money faster than you think." Okay. On December 31st, 2023, accurate to Lemon via text, "On the doorstep of a new year and an epic partnership, I just wanted to reach out and assure you of my personal commitment. You're an incredible talent. The X will make sure you have the global platform you deserve." I think he got the global platform he deserves. I think Elon Musk just said, "Okay, this is what you deserve because you suck. You're terrible." On January 6, 2024, White told Lemon via text, "My job is to make sure that you feel like you're in a good company on a platform. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that happens. This will be an awesome adventure for both of us." What did they promise? An exclusive partnership deal based upon defendants' false promises. Give us the terms. I want to know the terms. All right, here we go. After a series of negotiations with Lemon's agents and Lemon's transparency without hesitation, defendants, as means to induce Lemon to agree to this exclusive partnership deal with X, then represents Lemon on around January 8th that he received a one-year deal with X if he agreed to provide defendants exclusive rights to specific video content for a 24-hour period before it could be dispersed to other platforms. One piece of long-form video content that's not breaking news per week, and 10 pieces of short-form video content per month. So he has put out one long form per week, so 52 of those, and then 520, and then 120. Okay. In exchange, fans agreed they would pay him $1.5 million guaranteed, $200,000 paid up front within 3 business days, and the remainder paid in quarterly installments with additional incentives, including 1, the option to renew the one-year deal 2 times with the same terms at Lemon's sole discretion. 2, 60% of the gross advertising revenue that X received for programmatic advertising generated from Lemon's content. Okay. Performance threshold payments, $250,000 for reaching 4 million followers, $500,000 for reaching 6 million followers, $750,000 for reaching 8 million followers, and $1 million for reaching 10 million followers. Is that all? I mean, I'm saying, like, when he gets to 6, does he get like another 750? And then when he gets to 8, he gets $1 million? Whatever. When he gets to 4 million, he gets 500,000. Sorry, 250 when he hits 4 million. So then when he hits 6 million, does he get another 500, or is that 250 up to 500? This is why you have a contract. This is why you have a contract. How do you not have a written agreement on this? 500. Also, he's going to get performance thresholds. No, sorry, 500,000 advertising credits on the X platform for a period of 48 months. I don't know what that means. They can use over 48 months. 10% on the net revenue that X receives once it exceeds 350,000 for 350,000 content creators that Lemon referred to X. And that all content created by Lemon and its underlying intellectual property originating on distributed to X is wholly owned by him. That's a pretty nice deal. That's a pretty friggin' nice deal. That's a pretty nice deal. Now, I just want to go on record saying this. None of the terms here that they say sound to me to be like, that's insanity. It's impossible that they offer this. Maybe they may have. I don't know. I wasn't there. This sounds like a really nice deal that they're offering here. But there's another problem you have with this. There's another problem you have with this. You want to know the other problem you have with this? I'll tell you the problem you have with this. The problem you have with this is something that might shock you all. I'm looking as a defense counsel drafting an answer to this, or drafting my motion to dismiss for this realistically. It's a period of 500,000 in advertising credits in X platform for a period of 48 months. See, this is the term that as an attorney, I'm like, that term, if I was Don Lemon's lawyer, I'd be like, I don't like that term. I do not like that term. That term bothers me a lot. A lot. Although I guess maybe I could find some way to make it bother me less. Let me explain to you what's going through my head. The first thought that goes through my head. There's a concept called the statute of frauds. Statute of frauds basically means we don't have a deal unless it's in writing. It's not enforceable. You have a deal. It's just not enforceable unless it's in writing. Now, I'm going all the way back to my business law days as an undergrad. Certain circumstances where the statute of frauds applies. There's a lot of contracts you can make which are thoroughly binding and enforceable without a written contract. But certain types of contracts are not enforceable unless it's in writing and signed by the party to be charged, meaning whoever the defendant is has to be the one who signed it. Now, an example of this is real property, as in land, real estate. A real estate contract is not valid unless it's in writing. Now, the writing can be like really next to nothing. It really can be like next to nothing. Like something scribbled on a napkin could, in theory, validate as the writing. It's one of the first courses, one of the first cases that you learn in foreign law, at least, is they one of the first cases in contract, like definitely the first 2 weeks of when I was in law school. All right, well, the first month was like legal process, but I'm saying actually getting real courses. Maybe the first week was legal process, but the first of real classes, one of the very first cases that we had in contracts, I think it's called Zents. I don't remember though. Something with a Z. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on it. Very famous case where a guy was drunk or kind of drinking, and he agreed to sell a piece of real property, and he wrote it on a napkin. And the court said, that's good. That works. That satisfies the statute of frauds. You have to have writing. Questions of meetings of minds and stuff like that. But anyway, bottom line is this. Statute of frauds also applies to cases which cannot be performed cannot be performed in less than 1 year. Any contract which necessarily will take more than 1 year to perform is now going to fall into a statute of frauds problem that it's not going to be an enforceable contract unless it's been reduced to writing and signed by the party to be charged. So I see this term here, number 4, 500,000 advertising credits platform for a period of 48 months. I say that's going to be in writing. That's going to be in writing. Can't perform 48 months. I don't know what for a period of 48 months means. That's got to be in writing. And if this contract can't be performed in under a year, you got a real statute of frauds problem. So you got no contract here, which is why and it's another reason that they're really stuck on fraud. Fraud is much tougher to prove. But anyway, yeah, so that's the first thing I thought of when I see this thing here. I'm like, this means you need to have a writing. Someone's got to write it down somewhere. After the fact. Now, by the way, I want to be clear. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a contract, like a physical contract that's in a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be that. I mean, you can have an electronic contract. In theory, you can have a text exchange on WhatsApp, which could serve as a contract. In theory, I'm not saying it would work. I'm not recommending that as an attorney. I'm sharing with you the law that it could work. Like you could theoretically press a claim based on it. Here's a writing. Well, at least if we can show the meeting of minds and all the other elements of contract. Lemon justifiably relies on the false promises and representations made by defendants and enters into an exclusive partnership deal. After defendants persistent and ongoing material promises and representations referenced above, including the Lemon would have defendants' full support as well as full authority and control of the work he produced, even if disliked by defendants. Lemon agreed to enter this exclusive partnership deal with defendants on or about January 8, 2024. The question is, do they really have a deal here or not? Is there really a deal? Lemon entered into his exclusive partnership deal in reliance upon defendants' material representations and promises referenced above. Now, I will say this. If you're defendants here, Elon Musk certainly seemed to have knowledge. He was the first interview. He went through that interview and said, "You suck. I never want to see you on my platform again. I'm definitely canceling this agreement. I'm severing my relationship with you." Does that mean that he doesn't have a contract with him? Lemon would not have agreed to enter this exclusive partnership deal with defendants if he had known that defendants would fail to deliver on these representations and promises. I mean, what's the termination of this? I mean, I guess in theory, he can go after his $1 million piece, $1.5 million thing. But then the question is, you can get him for like $1.5 million. Well, what else are you looking for? He's saying the option to renew. That's what they want to claim. Okay, good luck with that. Good luck with that. This is a very tough case. This is a very tough case. I'm not saying it's unwinnable. I'm just saying it's a very tough case for Lemon. Lemon, at the time, so hold on a second. So now we're getting to the justifiably relying on false promises. After defendants' persistent ongoing material promises, representations referenced above, including defendants' full support and full authority and control, even if defendants disliked it, so he agreed to enter into this deal. He enters into this partnership deal reliant on defendants' material representations and promises referenced above. Okay. Lemon would not have agreed to enter this exclusive partnership deal with defendants if he had known that defendants would fail to deliver on these representations and promises. Okay. Lemon, at the time of the aforementioned promises and representations were made by defendants, and at the time he took the actions here alleged, was ignorant of the falsity of their promises and representations. What was the falsity? What was the falsity? The falsity was the lack of that they said they have full support and full authority and control over his work. He did. He did have full support and full authority and control over his work. I guess the falsity is saying that he could be there for a year. Had Lemon known the actual facts and intentions of the defendants, he would not have taken such action. His reliance upon defendants' misrepresentation of false promises was justified because, among other reasons, Lemon had known Yacarino to be a successful, respected media executive during her long tenures at NBC Universal. Okay. Do you need to show that there's a reason that she's someone you can rely on? Rather than she's just an agent? Let's say he didn't know her at all. Would he not be justified in relying on the representations of Yacarino? I don't know why that would be. I guess they're trying to bolster. After joining ex-Yacarino representations directly to Lemon and to other groups in the presence of Lemon, the defendants will create a platform that's palatable to advertisers, which in turn will lead to profitable venture for defendants in Lemon. Lemon was rushed by defendants into agreeing to the exclusive partnership deal. Shortly after Lemon agreed to the deal, on around January 28, 2024, defendants informed Lemon that the terms of offer would be withdrawn unless he attended the CES conference in Las Vegas, and that Lemon made a social media post announcing their partnership to the public the same day. So he's being rushed out to Vegas. Based upon the foregoing, including not limited to Lemon's knowledge of Yacarino's reputation as a successful media executive, he agreed to enter into the exclusive partnership deal. What? What's happening? He's rushed by defense into agreeing to the exclusivity. On around January 20, defendants informed Lemon that terms of offer would be withdrawn unless he attended the CES conference. Okay. Did he go to the conference? As a result of Lemon's justifiable reliance on defense false promises. You see, here's the problem. The reason why it's so much harder to prove is because you have to show at the time they said it, they were lying, rather than there being some sort of shift, which is, it's not fraud. It's not fraud. This is a very tough case to make out for Lemon. It's a very tough case. So many different ways to come after him on this. As a result of Lemon's justifiable reliance on defendants' false promises and misrepresentations, he agreed to the exclusive deal, promoted defendants' business to advertisers on his social media, and put his own reputation at stake by associating himself with defendants. Yeah, I think you were the one who was more of a beneficiary from that relationship than X was. This is a major part of the problem that I'm having just intuitively, just psychologically from this whole thing. I mean, you tell me, when he joined up there, did that feel like a win for... Ask yourself this. I want you to just think to yourself this, okay? When you heard that Lemon and Musk came to some sort of deal where he's going to get into a partnership with X, did you think that was a win for X, or did you think that was a win for Lemon? Because I think your basic person out there looked at that as like, oh, wow, Lemon found a home. Like he was vulnerable loser who found a home. Like he was like a stray dog brought in. He found a home. And he's trying to make it sound as if like he, as if like he's saving X's ass. Like he's like, oh wow, like Elon Musk was like, thank God we got Lemon. Oh my God. It's like not for Don Lemon, like there, but for the grace of God go I, that I might have been Elon Musk and Twitter and X, but much to their the great luck of X, Don Lemon signed on with them. It's like, who the hell's buying this? Who's buying this story? I don't think anyone's swallowing that. But that's a question of fact that would not help you get a dismissal. Meanwhile, defendants never intended to fulfill the representations, promises to Lemon. And by the way, I don't think for a second they're hoping to go to trial. I think that this is all about trying to leverage a settlement out of Elon. That's what they're really looking for here. They're like, give us a couple $1 million and let us go. We want a couple $1 million, and they're going to try and say, no, we want our 20 million or whatever stupid number they have at the end here. But they're hoping like, hey, maybe we'll make some money by suing them. That's what this ultimately is. Meanwhile, defendants never intended to fulfill their representations and promises to Lemon. Instead, at the time the defendants were under intense criticism, they only intend to publicize a partnership between X and Lemon and thereby associate and promote the X brand with Lemon's good name, likeness, identity, and recover reputation. See, the reason this and revered reputation, A, it wasn't a revered reputation, and B, if that was their motive, they wouldn't have cut him 10 days later. You don't bring someone in to save your reputation and then cut him 10 minutes later. That's what makes zero sense in this whole thing. I mean, think about this for a second. Yeah, okay. It's like this whole thing reads as if me basically saying, okay, so I'm going to put my good reputation on the line, and I'm going to bail out Ben Shapiro by joining his show, not have a contract with him, and then if he hates my work and thinks I suck, and 10 minutes later, I'm going to say that the reason that he brought me on board was to save his sinking ship because he was relying on my sterling reputation to help bail his butt out. And everyone will be looking at me like, who are you? What? It sounds insane. Now, we all know I'm infinitely more talented than Ben Shapiro, but the reality of the situation is right now, compared to me, I mean, I'm pretty minor league compared to Ben Shapiro. Lemon's portraying this as if he's saving Elon. Then why did he fire you 10 minutes later? If he's all about he wants to if he wants to cash in your reputation, he wouldn't fire you 10 seconds later. On about January 9, 2024, he attended the CES conference. I thought he had to be there January 8th. Did he not even? Okay. There, Yackarino would join her with advertisers. She tried to talk up the exciting future along with defendants because of their partnership with Lemon. In addition to announcing the new partnership between defendants and Lemon in a publicly made post on X, defendants announced 2 other partnerships with Tulsi Gabbard and Jim Rome. Yeah, I don't think they got fired 10 seconds later. Moreover, announcing X's new content partnership with Lemon, X stated that Don Lemon's show will share his unique and honest voice in 30-minute episodes 3 times a week, covering politics, culture, sports, and entertainment. He knows sports. Following this statement, Lemon made X top trending topics in the United States and Stay by Whites by far the largest announcement that X got. Okay. Well, there you go. In addition, Lemon's well-known reputation, likeness, identity, and good name were used by defendants for commercial benefit. Okay. Later that night, defendants touted Lemon as their partner that would bring a diverse perspective and powerful voice to the X platform. And they brought that during exclusive dinner with major advertising brands that were invited, including brand innovators, Lenovo, Magic Leap, MediaLink, MNTN, Movers and Shakers, M. Taylor, NFL, Qualcomm, Range Media, Salesforce, and Stagwell. There, Lemon, after being pressured by defendants to make a speech on their behalf, praised X in front of the attendees. The next day, Yackarino wrote to Lemon, "Thank you for joining us yesterday at a momentous dinner that was memorable and a big turning point. It marked a new chapter for X." Well, that's a great state. That's a great little nugget for Lemon to throw in here. That's a nice nugget for him to throw in. I'm sure he's got that. That's definitely helpful. Throughout the remainder of the CES conference, defendants continue to entice advertisers to return to X, relying on their partnership with Lemon. Big party for advertisers. Between January and approximately February 2024, they continue using his name, his likeness, identity, and cashing in on that. February 28, 2024, continues to promote his good name, and it pressured him. I love when they say pressured him. Like, is it a contract or not? Is there agreement? What is it pressured? It's not pressure. I guess he didn't have to. At talent panel and defendants client council meeting. See, this is the part that just sounds really hokey. If there's a contract agreement, then they're not pressuring him. They didn't ask him to do it, or he's free to say yes, or he's free to say no, or he's not. What does pressured means? This is so stupid. This is like written for like woke jackasses. And he felt pressured. He was under pressure. Their X presented Lemon as part of his ongoing efforts to woo advertisers and meeting full of brightest and most influential marketing leaders in the business. After the meeting, Yackarino praised Lemon for playing a critical role in creating a transformational year for defendants. Let's get to the interview between Musk and Lemon. Lemon interviewed Musk on March 8, 2024, and it was an unmitigated disaster. For the first episode of the Don Lemon Show. By this time, Lemon had spent a considerable amount of time, effort, and resources in creating exclusive content for defendants, all to his detriment. Really? Okay. Lemon had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars creating his own media company. No one remembered Don Lemon when he first came back to them. No, everyone was like, oh, he's still around. Lemon had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars creating his own media company, collaborated with his agent based in California on what his new show would look like, sought business proposals from numerous production companies, entered into a production deal with a content studio and production company, and took all these different steps to set himself up to actually have a functioning media company. Okay. And by the way, that is work. I mean, it is expensive. It is. It can be. Meanwhile, defense continued to lack any intent to fulfill the representation promises Lemon and failed to issue a single payment to Lemon despite his request pursuant to the express agreement. Oh, you see these requests and their refusals? That's interesting. That's interesting. Why would they be paid? Okay. There's definitely a lot left out of this whole negotiation. There certainly was a negotiation. There probably was an expectation here. But we don't know whether there was a termination agreement, whether there was some sort of probation period. We don't know if there was we don't know any. There's too much we don't know at this juncture about what X says their perspective is. I find it very unlikely that there was not an opt-out clause here for X. Very, very unlikely that he was like, we're going to totally breach his contract. I find it very unlikely. And when he's coming to them for money, I'm sure part of his negotiation for money was, I'm going to be eating all this cost. That's why I need you to pay me this much money. So, but still, that could be it's not detrimental reliance if they didn't plan on firing him. Within 1 day of the interview, the disastrous interview, Musk sent Lemon's agent a text message stating that Lemon's partnership contract with defendants is canceled. Close to this time, White spoke with Lemon on the phone and told Lemon defendants were not going to pay him or follow through with promises and representations made to him because there was no signed agreement. Despite Musk previously representing Lemon that there would be no need for a formal written agreement or fill out paperwork. Yeah, that's not going to fly in a court of law. You still knew that there was no agreement. To this day, defendants have not compensated Lemon pursuant to the exclusive partnership deal the defendants induced Lemon to enter into. Now, can they use against the fact that he says our contract is canceled? Maybe. I don't know. That's a California exclusive thing. I can't answer you that question because this is language which is helpful to Don Lemon. I mean, you want to say that there's no contract at all. Well, Elon Musk certainly thought there was a contract. He said your contract with X is canceled. So clearly, Elon Musk thinks there's a contract. That's what Don Lemon's attorney is going to say. Is that going to be helpful in this whole scenario? You would think it would be helpful. Trying to establish whether or not there is a contract. Because it expresses a perspective that both sides thought there was a contract here. In order to have a contract, I should review with you, just so you understand, for purposes of understanding the law, what a contract is. Contract is a meeting of minds where there's an exchange of consideration. Now, you can have a bilateral or unilateral contract. But over here, I'm not going to get into the distinctions between the two. Actually, bilateral or unilateral. But is there a meeting of the minds between the parties? That's the first thing you need to come to. And if so, who's the meeting of the minds between? Is contract with X? In theory, Linda Yaccarino might have held herself out as someone who was able to bind X, and to the extent that Elon Musk and other owners of X and people on the board helped sell that. So she formed this agreement with him. And there's terms, you can have terms that are definable, that the essential elements of the terms are definable, which they try spelling out there with the 6 different things that are promised to him. Now, his consideration means each party is giving something up. So in an employment contract, you're giving up your time and your efforts, your talents, and that's your consideration. And the consideration you're getting, the other side's consideration is the money that they're paying you. That's the exchange of consideration. I give A, you give B. I'm giving my time and my work. You're giving me money. Consideration both ways. Does this contract, in order to be enforceable, does that have to be in writing? Well, it depends on that clause in the statute of limitation, on the statute of frauds. Can this be performed within 1 year? Like if you have a 2-year singing contract, that's not enforceable unless it's in writing. Now, maybe California is different. I'd be very surprised if that's true. Very surprised. The reason I'd say I'm very surprised if that's true is because when we learn contract law, I'm not learning it. They don't teach it in Fordham law like this is New York contract law. It's like these are common law elements to contract law that are universal. You need to have, in order to have a valid contract, you need to have a meeting of minds. That's the same in New York and Idaho and Kansas and Hawaii and Alaska and California. It's the same concepts are universal across the entire country. I can't speak to what's going on in Italy. They let their women go out there and get into a boxing ring and get their brains bashed in by men. But here in America, you need to have a meeting of the minds. You need to have an exchange of consideration from both sides. If only one side is giving it, in that case, it's a gift. It's a whole different thing. So the point to a contract is I can force you to honor your end of it because I give up on my side my consideration. You now are obligated because we had this meeting of the minds that this is what each side was going to do. But in order for there to be a contract, you need to say between which parties is a contract. Because let's look at the different parties that they named here. I sort of skipped past the parties in the beginning. What page am I on here? On page 18. Different parties named. They got Elon Musk. I don't think it's a contract with Elon Musk. X Corp is probably who they're claiming there would be a contract with. But Elon Musk didn't sign a contract. If anything, it would be X that's signing it. With some other entity. So now, what I would tell you is, in order for there to be fraud, there has to be a lie that's made at the time that you're making the statement, you know it's a lie. So what's the point that they're saying you know this is a lie? If he's fraudulently, and you know you're not going to give him the exclusive control, because as soon as he steps out of line, you're going to fire him. It's kind of rough. It's very, the weird thing is whenever you have a fraud claim, you almost never have a breach of contract claim. The two are considered almost inconsistent with each other. It's very difficult to come up with scenarios where you have both a valid fraud claim and a valid breach of contract claim. Now, the reason attorneys draft complaints like this is because you sort of want to hedge your bets. I don't know if the fraud's going to work. I don't know if the breach of contract is going to work. I don't know if the misrepresentation is going to work. You'd rather get fraud than misrepresentation, even because you get more damages with fraud in theory. You're entitled to treble damages with fraud. So in some states, you might be able to get attorney's fees if you prove fraud. I think they're going to struggle with fraud because it's very unclear what are the specific things said by which person saying a specific thing that he's relying on. You sort of want to say he says this. If you do this, I will. If you do this, I need you to do this for me. So, and to lead you to detrimentally rely. I think fraud here is a very tough claim. Very tough claim for Musk. Now, the contract thing is there a recognition of this meeting of minds because Elon Musk said our contract is canceled? Your contract with X is canceled? What's interesting about the way they worded it, by the way, when they talked about a contract is canceled. I don't think he said, when they put this in hyphen in the parentheticals like this, I think he just wrote the word contract is canceled. He didn't say with who. So they want to say with defendants. It's not with defendants. Right? It would be with X, if anything. I think he just wrote the three words, contract is canceled. There's a lot more backstory. There's so much more backstory. But to me, what's exciting about this is we're learning a lot about what was entailed in this deal. So later, defendants claim they never entered into a partnership deal with Lemon, which demonstrates the fraudulent nature of the defendant's promises. Well, we don't have a contract, right? And representations that they had already entered into express agreement with Lemon and were instead violating that partnership. As a result, defendants have provided false and inconsistent reasons for refusing to pay Lemon that completely contradicts what Musk told Lemon's agent in his text message. This is a tough claim. Friends claim that they never entered a partnership deal, so we never had a deal. And which demonstrates fraudulent defendants' promises. They had already entered into express agreement with Lemon and were instead violating that partnership. See, you can't say that we have a deal and there's fraud. It doesn't make any sense. You just say we had a deal and they're breaking the deal. I don't like this part of the drafting. This is to me, this would be if I was sitting as a judge in New York, I would look at this complaint and be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now again, this is the part where it could be different in California, but I'd be a little surprised. It's like, what is your claim? Are you claiming there was a contract or are you claiming there was not a contract, Don Lemon? What are you saying here? Because half the time I'm reading this and it sounds like you think there's a contract, but then you keep coming back to me with fraud. So why are you coming back to me and saying that they induced you into taking steps? We didn't have a contract, because fraud is basically saying we didn't have a contract, but they tricked me into doing this, and now I'm out all this different stuff, and these are all the different damages I suffered as a result of that. If you don't have a contract and it's just fraud, well, in that case, the damages you would get are not the $1.5 million. The damages he would get would be, this is what you're out of pocket. This is you detrimentally relied. This is the remedy. What's the remedy for fraud? Think about this for a second. You got harmed. What's your harm? Well, your harm is you're out of pocket for all those different things that you should not be out of pocket for. The harm could be damage to your reputation, but good luck showing the pecuniary loss that you sustained as a result of this, because he's going to really struggle to show that, because he was down Craps Creek. So, and it's all very, very speculative. And courts are very reluctant to give money on like, oh, I had damage to my reputation. It's very, very hard to come to that. Very hard. So the fraud claim here is arguably for what he was out of pocket to set this whole thing up. But if you have a fraud claim, you're basically saying there was no contract. There's no contract. You're not getting the $1.5 million. You're not getting the 10%. You're not getting the $500,000 on this other stuff. You're not getting any of that stuff. It's just we're going to put you back as if you never came across them before. That's what the fraud claim is. Same for the misrepresentations. Now, in fraud, you might get attorney's fees also. But I'm saying is, you're not getting the $1.5 million per year for 3 years that you're implying that you should get, because I have a first year plus 2 years that I could renew. You're not getting 10% of all this stuff. You're not getting the bonuses if your viewers shoot up. You're not getting any of that. We're just putting you back to where you were before this person defrauded you. That's the remedy we're going to give you for fraud. So you don't want to say fraud. You want to say contract. Okay, what's the evidence you have a contract? You have a meeting of minds. Does it have to be in writing? I don't know. Arguably, it does have to be. It can't be performed in a year based on clause forward. So you have 48 months to do this. Now, I want to be clear about what I said about statute of frauds. If it can be done within 1 year, or it could also be done beyond 1 year, but it could be finished in 1 year, that's not a statute of frauds problem. So if you're Don Lemon, you'd say, well, the $500,000 could be used up in the first 12 months, and I might not extend the option to renew, so it could be done in 1 year. And I don't know, because it's not clear what the terms are based there. I'm a little confused. It's a little vague when they say $500,000 over 48 months. I don't know what the hell that means. And if it's a statute of frauds issue, in that case, you have nothing enforceable in the breach of contract, which means you can't force them to pay the $1.5 million in a year. You can't force them to pay anything. And again, you get damages in theory. There's a misrepresentation that you now. And what's the misrepresentation exactly? That he would have exclusive control? But you have to show that lie came at the time that we were forming this agreement. And where's the misrepresentation that the lie coming at the time that you're forming the agreement? How are you proving that at the time they said that was what he had in mind, when everyone who saw this looked as if Elon Musk walked into that in good faith and got revolted after having to sit with disgusting Don Lemon, seven-time winner, worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, and having to actually face questions from this jackass. Asking questions like, what drugs are you on? What recreational drugs are you on? Why are you a racist who supports a racist like Donald Trump? Don't you realize that you're destroying the world when you're allowing racists to talk on your platform? No. So, anyway, he's got problems here. He's got problems. I am going to be curious. I really do want to see the answer to this complaint, which should be coming in 20 to 30 days, but there'll probably be a motion to dismiss. So I'm probably going to follow up on this. I've been doing this for a while now, though. This is my first radio. Cultist joke. Go back to Greek rules. Competitors wear no clothes, so spectators can immediately express their concern about the competitors. That's the only chance they have right now of actually like fixing the games. And they want to get more viewers. So that would work. Turn it into the actual hedonism that they profess it to be. Dying revenue stream. Musk can weather a revenue hiccup. I think he could. Nathan, no, it's separated by 48 months is the 10% revenue. 48 months is the 10% revenue. Control F. Here it is. Oh, yeah. That is a problem. You're right. I read that incorrectly. Thank you, Nathan. It wasn't 500,000 advertising. It's for a period of 48 months, 10% of the net revenue that X receives once it exceeds $350,000 content creators. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to get around statute of frauds for that. Maybe it can be. I don't know. But to me, this smells like a statute of frauds issue. I could be wrong. Lemon also wanted Musk throw in a free Cybertruck, but it was never written in print. Of course he did. Nothing like doing $1 million deals with no content. Who does that? Who does that? New content partnership in 1924 X announcement evidently drug feet because offer was to expire and changed to 1X long form week versus 3 announced. And so you're saying there's a new content partnership. January 9/24 X announcement. Evidently he drug his feet because offer was to expire and changed it to 1X one-time long-form week versus the 3 he announced. This is another problem. If everything ended up changing from those terms, so that shows a lack of meaning of the minds. Because if you're saying the consideration is this, that he's going to be doing these different things, and they're saying the consideration is something else, you don't have a meaning of the minds. When you talk about meaning of the minds, it's like we all understand what the primary essential terms are here. So you don't have a meaning of the minds if there's an argument as to whether or not he's going to be putting out long form 1 time a week or 3 times a week. And if he ends up announcing that he's doing it 3 times a week, and that's what he's going to be doing, so that's implying that the terms that he's looking for here of $1.5 million and all this other stuff that's spelled out over here, one piece of long term per week, and 10 pieces of short form video. Well, on January 9/24, they said 3 times a week, which means that these terms were not even what they ultimately agreed to. This was on January 8th. Yeah, that would be very important. That 500 days, 48 prepaid of ad fund for its content. No, sorry, I got that wrong. It's for a period of 48 months, 10% of the net revenue that X receives once it exceeds 350,000 for content creators. So it could be that the way that you get around the statute of frauds issue is if you don't have both sides performing for more than 1 year. They're just paying out money over 48 months. But I don't know. I'm not sure. That could be a technicality that could theoretically help me escape the issue of statute of frauds. But I was concerned. I think he did get it right. I think Nathan did get it right. Anyway, those are some of the. I think that I'm not saying that he's not going to end up getting a settlement. I mean, sometimes Elon. I don't know. Did Elon respond to this? Did he say anything about this? Like, I'm going to F this guy up? But maybe BBC will give me the best breakdowns. Former CNN star represented Don Lemon sued Elon Musk and his social media company. I'm looking to see if there's any response from Elon. Let's see. I didn't remember him saying this. That's pretty funny. In a post on X shortly after the deal fell through, Musk said Mr. Lemon's approach was basically just CNN but on social media, which doesn't work, as evidenced by the fact that CNN is dying. That's a great final note for me to end the week on. That is a great final note for me to end the week on. All right. Well, that's my show for tonight. I urge you, if you have not hit like and subscribe, believe it or not, somehow my channel analytics keep going down. Every day I'm losing like another 30 people. I'm live streaming, and during the course of a live stream, somehow I end up losing 2 people from where I started. I was at 102,400. So if you're here and you can hit like and subscribe, I appreciate that. You can also check me out at goodlogic.locals.com. Goodlogic.locals.com. I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming on Saturday night. Seems doubtful. I would assume I'm probably not going to be streaming on Saturday night, but it's just going to be a lot of kids around, and it's just very loud, so it's very difficult. Maybe, I don't know, because if I do it late at night, we'll see. If there's really big news, I may. But you'll find out at Locals, goodlogic.locals.com. That's goodlogic.locals.com. I thank you all for joining me. I will urge you all, make sure We have our list of banned products, right? I'm going to shut up. 208. No lab meat, and do not. Just don't eat the bugs. Good night, y'all. Go on speed.